and pain.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Eagle Leasing Storage Studio. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Canes light the lamp here.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. This afternoon, a high of 88 degrees, mainly cloudy skies, with a chance of showers and thunderstorms mainly focused along and east of I-95. 75 overnight tonight, and tomorrow the rain is more widespread across our area. Some of it will be heavy at times. We'll see some storms in the afternoon with highs in the mid-80s.
This hour of the drive is brought to you by Law Tigers. Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you call your insurance company. Case evaluations are always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. Law Tigers, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 646 points to 53,131.
Deep left corner of the end zone. Jalen Coker hauls it in for a touchdown.
Off the back iron. Wilson comes soaring in to dunk it home. Copeland jabs on him a couple of times. Step back three-pointer, left corner, swish.
One dribble out for Boozer for three. Big time! And the Carolina Hurricanes are the best team in the NHL. They won the 2026 Stanley Cup.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. On a Monday, on a football kind of game week, kind of. I'll explain. It is a Monday, though, so we will have a Monday sound off at 4:15. Start thinking about what you want to say. We will open up the phone lines about 4:15. Got over an hour to collect your thoughts. And there is some reason to believe pure chaos will be coming to college sports in the next couple of weeks. We'll explain everything. And we'll start explaining it with our first segment of the show, which we call Big 3 at 3.
Number 1.
Panthers Hall of Fame game this week. But before we dive into that, our Big 3 at 3 is presented by Maynard Service Company. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, service you can trust. Maynard Service Company. Check them out online, MaynardServices.com. MAYNOR Services.com. Panthers Hall of Fame game this Thursday. Panthers will be playing another NFL team. They'll be hitting a different colored jersey. It may not be the real go regular season NFL preseason. It may not even be the same level as a normal preseason game, but it is football and it is against another team, so I am celebrating.
By the way, you'll have football game every single week up until the week between the conference championship games and the Super Bowl. There will be at least one football game, college or pro or high school, played in some way, shape, or form at least once a week.
And maybe because it's probably taken about as seriously as the Hall of Fame. If you count those weird games they play in the Pro Bowl all the way until the Super Bowl.
We'll count that. Why not?
There you go. Because we're not going to get the headliners on Thursday. Matter of fact, we have the audio for you from Dave Canales, head coach of the Panthers. After practice today, he spoke to the media, and he did give some insight into which players will and which players won't play on Thursday against the Cardinals.
Kenny will start the game off. For how long, I'm not sure, but we have a good number of guys, that'll be helping out early on in the game. Just because we don't want to overload any one particular group on our team. We do have practices leading into the game, and we have practices coming out of it. So I felt that with the number of guys being out there, being able to take a couple of series will really help the whole group, and we just need the football. So I'm excited about it, and Kenny's excited as well as the rest of the group, and they've been talking a lot about it.
Still make no starters? No starters?
Yeah, no starters. So there are some competition battles for starting positions where guys will have an opportunity to play a little bit, but some of the guys we're expecting to be out there right off the bat, I think we won't play those guys in this game.
That's probably smart. It is. You don't want the both real life catastrophe for your team, but also the PR catastrophe for your team if somebody of great importance gets hurt in the Hall of Fame game. So it's smarter to just kind of chill. But I do like that Kenny Pickett's playing. That's the Kenny they referenced at the beginning. Kenny being the backup quarterback, because backup quarterbacks are one of the only positions that really there's like, unless there's an injury, there's really no reason he's going to have any kind of meaningful snaps this regular season. So getting him as many as you can in the preseason, I think, makes sense. Even if it is just, a drive or two or a quarter or however long it ends up being, those reps just for keeping rust away on the off chance you need Kenny Pickett, I think, is important. Everybody else, stay healthy. And don't distract from the other guys. They're going to get the speech that every starter gets in a blowout at every level of football. These guys, they're supporting you when you're out there. So now that they're out there and you're the one getting the rest, you need to be just as locked in. You need to be supporting them. And then they'll cut to them during the broadcast and they'll be joking wearing hoodies. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is number one. Let's get to number two.
Number two.
Let's just update the record for the NCAA in court cases. I think they're 1 in 7,000. They've lost 7,000. They may have won 1 or 2. They lost another one. The news started to trickle out right towards the end of the day on Friday. One might even say Friday news dump. But a judge has made it enforced the injunction. You can use whatever legalese you want to. I'm going to say it in layman's term. Everybody that exhausted their 4 years of eligibility this past school year in college now gets 1 year of eligibility due to a court ruling. They get 1 extra year because this is the transition off season. They went from 4 years of eligibility plus in certain sports, 4 games of redshirt year, whatever. But they went to 4 years of eligibility. Next year it starts the 5 for 5. You have 5 years to play 5 years. There is no redshirting. So they said if that's the new rule, people that lost their eligibility this past year get grandfathered in, which means, for example, right, I'm just going to throw some names out there that likely could and are likely exploring the ability to come back to college. Darian Williams, Van Allen Lubin, Seth Trimble. It's not just basketball. Tommy Castellanos, the quarterback of Boston College and Florida State over the last half decade, he reportedly is exploring an avenue back to college football. There are a ton of players across multiple sports that fall into that same category that now have another year of eligibility. If they put their name in the portal back during a portal window, they can come back and go wherever they want. If they didn't, it appears like they're only going to be able to come back and play for the school that they last played for. However, I assume that is just 1 court case away from being they can come back and play everywhere because, as I mentioned, the NCAA loses all of their court cases. It just seems like it's a bad bet. But this is significantly more than just, some guys get to play another year because nobody was planning for them to have another year. Rosters are full. And roster limits are still enforced. So there's a good chance for every one of these players that goes back and plays in college, there's some freshman or some disappointing sophomore who the coach is going to have to force out. Or at the very, very least is going to have to go, hey, that NIL check we promised you, we're going to need about 70% of that back because we got a pool for this new guy. It is going to get significantly more messy for most schools before this season gets started. Probably not football because you're already in camp and unless you absolutely need a quarterback, maybe you make that move. But for basketball, there's just enough time for the drama. Just enough, which is not very fun.
By the way, the judge that did make that ruling did state that NFL or football players that signed pro contracts wouldn't be eligible. Like, for example, Diego Pavia, formerly of Vanderbilt. He's not on a team right now. He did sign a pro contract with the Baltimore Ravens, but I'm sure he's going to sit there and file and like, well, wait a second, hold on. But I use also, like, he's had JUCO and all that kind of stuff anyway. So it's a little bit different situation. But it would not surprise me if there's a football player that played 4 years of college football, exhausted their eligibility, didn't do it in 5 years, did it in 4, part of that class of 2022, that didn't get signed out there, or maybe was on a practice squad or a rookie mini camp during the offseason and never actually, and just kind of sitting at home right now, is sitting there going, wait a second. If I can go back to college for one more year, go back to my previous school, I already know the system, well, why not?
It is, as I said, by the way, I'm not blaming the players, right? There's a lot of, like, get a job being passed around on social media towards the players. Like, if you can go make $500,000 playing a sport,
that is a job.
I don't know if I'm sitting in a place where I can tell them don't pursue that. This is the NCAA woke up today with if this isn't the consequences of my own actions, kind of. They've mishandled this for so long that they just keep getting bullied into worse and worse situations. So this one is a rough one. But at the same time, you know who it's going to bail out? People won't like to hear this. Will Wade of LSU, because he has nobody on his roster, and because he couldn't get anyone to commit to him, and now he's going to be one of the few schools with NIL and roster spots for these new returning players. If the rule change benefits only Will Wade, there's a pretty good chance that's a bad rule change. That's the way I look at it. That's number 2. Let's get to number 3.
Number 3.
Major League Baseball trade deadline is 2 hours and 49 minutes away. There you go. There's already been some blockbusters. Tarek Skubal going from Detroit to the Dodgers. Everyone's excited about that, right? Those scrappy upstart Dodgers appear to be all in for this year's title chase. Or the juggernaut just became more juggernauty. They just took even another step towards being invincible. They have, 3 stud pitchers that can't pitch right now due to injuries, so they went and got maybe the best in the game right now and only had to give up a couple of little scraps as far as prospects go. There's a bigger problem with baseball than just the Dodgers can spend a ton. That's what it's going to be pitched as, and there's going to be, you need to have a salary cap and you need to do this to make sure the Dodgers can't keep the problem. The Dodgers are doing everything within the rules. You might think that's part of the problem. I'm not saying it's 0%. The problem is the small market teams that aren't spending money. The problem is the small market teams that have great players that you can't find a way to afford, because then they do all congregate. They all meet up in these big markets. The issue is that Detroit couldn't find a way to pony up the kind of money that he would need to stick around. That's the problem. But it could be a problem. Also, just moments ago, within the last half hour, the Orioles traded all-star catcher Adley Rutschman to the Boston Red Sox. You want to know how bullied teams are right now? You're trading a multiple-time all-star at a premium position in the division? You're trading it to somebody in your division? I imagine the Orioles didn't think they had any other choice. I do go back with Adley. I covered him when he was a minor leaguer, when he was the number 1 prospect in baseball with the Norfolk Tides. I was covering the Tides at the time, and now he's going to the Red Sox. Woo. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is the Big 3 at 3, presented by Maynard Service Company. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical work, whatever you need in your house, Maynard Service Company is the one to call. Check them out online, maynardservices.com, MAYNOR services.com. Up next, the Panthers practice today. The Panthers play on Thursday. Hall of Fame preseason game. What did they have to say after practice? Stick around.
It's bow time. Ordering Bojangles Bow Bites is the easiest choice you'll make today. The bite-sized hand-breaded chicken is fried to crispy perfection, making it perfect for sharing, snacking, or when you're on the go. Just don't call it a nugget. The only hard part is choosing from our 6 dipping sauces. We've got a sauce for every kind of craving, from our creamy house-made ranch to our sweet and spicy peach honey pepper sauce. It all depends on what kind of mood you're in. Head to your nearest Bojangles today and discover the dippable, shareable, and craveable Bow Bites. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. time to head on over to Bojangles to try Bojangles' new Bo Bites. Bite-sized, hand-breaded chicken fried to crispy perfection. On the go, they're perfect for snacking or sharing. Dipped in your favorite sauce like creamy house-made ranch or peach honey pepper, they're the perfect way to satisfy your craving for flavor and value. Try Bojangles' new Bo Bites. It's an easy choice to make when it's Bo time.
Yeah, can you pass me a Baja?
A what?
Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Try it. It's tropical at first, then the lime flavor hits.
Oh, okay. That's crisp. Tastes like vacation.
Right?
Mm-hmm. And it's mine now.
Have a Baja Blast.
Right now at Circle K, buy a 20-ounce Mountain Dew and get another for just $1. Do the Dew at Circle K today.
You've got rhythm. Your heart's got rhythm. Then one day your rhythm's off, and you've got AFib, atrial fibrillation. The good news is you've also got an AFib center, where specialists in AFib have multiple treatment options for you. Want more good news? Most of them are minimally invasive. Learn more at wakemed.org. And what do you say you and your heart get the band back together?
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. The Carolina Panthers, due to Luke Kuechly's induction into the Hall of Fame, get to play in the Hall of Fame game against the Cardinals, who are celebrating Larry Fitzgerald's induction into the Hall of Fame. So first of all, it's cool for Luke Kuechly, right? And cool for the franchise and all the fans that'll get to go out there and see a preseason game and also see Luke Kuechly go into the Hall. So there's that. But also it is another game. And if there's one thing we've learned about Brant Tillis, the right-hand man of Dan Morgan in the front office, there's nothing that can't be used as some kind of value. Right? If it's 0.01%, he's going to find a way to squeeze the value out of it. So here is Brant Tillis on how much the extra preseason game will help with his and the team's evaluation process.
It is valuable, and a lot of teams they look at it as a kind of as a boon, but for us it is going to be a tool for us to be able to evaluate the roster and really see some of these guys and how they're ascending and how they're competing against other teams. So it's exciting for us.
Pay attention to who's returning kicks. Pay attention to who's making tackles on special teams. A lot of the guys that will be deciding their fate will be doing so with those style of plays. Hopefully, if you're sitting all your starters, your main starters, like they said they will, the ones that'll be having the biggest impact on offense and defense will not be playing. But special teams, you can make a living on special teams. The other thing that's going on is, and it will go on forever until they either sign that contract or don't, is what's going on with Bryce? What's going on with Bryce? Have you seen like Finding Nemo, the birds that are just like, mine, mine, mine? There are certain Panther fans, certain media members that rightfully so are just Bryce, 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 Bryce. Anytime you can get someone talking about Bryce. So let's do the Bryce whirlwind, starting with Dave Canales, head coach, after practice today, gave his evaluation of Bryce so far through training camp.
You know, the special plays still show up every day. Moving off the spot, pushing up in the pocket, layering balls, all the accuracy. But the part that I've been really impressed with this camp is just the chemistry with our receivers, the time on task with Jalen Coker, T-Mac, Xavier Leggett, JT Sanders, and the tight end group who have been around for a while. And now it just seems like he's playing so much faster. It just seems like he's eliminating things before the snap. On his drop, he's starting to eliminate and evaluate things and throwing really anticipatory throws. I got to think, a couple interceptions throughout camp, like he's on the money. Receivers not quite where they need to be. And these are trust throws. These are things where your whole soul's got to be behind that throw. When you hit the back foot, the ball's coming out. That creates opportunity for conversation in the media rooms to say, hey, look, this is my timing on this play, and here's when the ball's got to get out. I need you there a little sooner. and those types of things. And so that part, a lot of just growth in leadership in terms of talking to the players for what he wants on particular routes, from the tight ends, from the wideouts in the slot, where he sees the ball going, where he sees them attacking the leverage of the player. So I love where he's headed, love that he's all in. He seems to be really enjoying it. And so we just keep taking it day at a time and trying to challenge ourselves that way.
I like that. There's some throws that he has to have his whole soul behind. I actually think the when Bryce doesn't have his whole soul behind a throw is where he gets into trouble, where he's hesitant or when he's not all in, like make the decision and let it fly. I hope there's more of that, whether it's due to chemistry or his development or play calling or whatever. Hit that back foot, get it out. Brant Tillis had a little bit more, I would say, big picture thoughts on Bryce. Dave Canales very in on the day-to-day, which he should be, right? Coach versus front office member. But Brant Tillis was asked what the ceiling for Bryce Young is. This was his answer.
I would say he ascended last year, and there's still room for him to ascend. Like his ceiling currently is unknown, and I think that's exciting for us. And he's working hard to get himself there.
Ceiling is unknown. That's just funny to me. Unknown could go up or down. I just wanted that to be. The ceiling might not be high, might be high. We don't know. Brant Tillis was asked as a follow-up, and I think this is a good one. Was he expecting to have more of an idea of Bryce's ceiling by now? Because remember, he is going into year 4, which is the end of a traditional rookie contract. They obviously picked up the 5th-year option. But here's Brant Tillis on if he expected to have more of an idea of Bryce's ceiling.
Not necessarily. The team is growing too, so he's going to ascend as the team ascends, and vice versa. The team is going to get better as he does. So it's all good.
It's all good. If I'm unknown on my quarterback, I would try to make that out to be a positive as well. Keep rolling with Brant Tillis. Has the team provided Bryce with what he needs to show his best?
The team is better. The coaches are good. And Bryce is putting in the work too. So it's all there. And we'll just see how the year plays out. And I think we're all really excited for what Bryce is going to show and how the team's going to be.
I mean, this season, there's almost 2 paths, and you got to travel them both at the same time. Not 2 paths, 2 main narratives that you have to track throughout the season. One is team success, try to win, try to build off last year, try to go make the playoffs, try to win a game in the playoffs. The other is you better be darn certain how much you're comfortable spending on Bryce, or if you want to spend on Bryce for a long-term contract. That's the 2 things that need to have happen, right? The building off of everything is important, and then also there can't be any more unknown unless we don't know if he's a 9.5 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. You can be unknown on that, but there can't be unknown on if he's the guy or do we want to pay him, because if you pay him, it's $50-something million a year. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be signing a $50 million per year check nervously, right? I want to be confident putting that pen to paper if I'm the team.
The ceiling is the roof.
Yeah, you start saying things that almost make sense. They sound good. The ceiling is the roof. His ceiling is unknown. Ceiling is unknown. I will say this, in the clips that get passed around, and some of the articles that have been written, it seems like Bryce has taken more of a control of the offense and he is more decisive. That being said, as I said on whatever it was Friday, there is nothing he can do in practice that will impress me. There's 0 that Bryce Young can do in practice that'll make me change the way I think of him. It might raise my expectations for the first quarter of week 1, but outside of that, it is what he does in games that will decide. It's a production-based business. It will decide everything about how I feel about him and hopefully about what the team feels about him moving forward.
Yeah, because in practice, he can't get hit. It's like, oh, yeah, I can roll this way. I can still make this throw because you're not going to get hit.
Can't get hit. And
this guy's pulling up.
And it's easier, like what Dave Canales said, when you need throws that have your whole soul behind them, no hesitancy, it's much easier to do when an interception doesn't really matter, right? You might not throw any more interceptions, right? It's not like he's out there throwing a ton of them, but it's easier to be decisive and play with reckless abandon when you have a safety net underneath you of If you throw an interception, it doesn't matter. So we need to see him in a game before any of this conversation becomes real, unless we're just talking about evaluating the last 3 years. We can still evaluate the things he's put on tape. There's no way like a Monday practice in camp leading up to the Hall of Fame game, he throws a nice over-the-shoulder catch. Tedero McMillan makes the one-hander, stays in bounds. There's no way I'm walking away going like, way more likely to give him the contract now. No, I'm actually just way more likely to watch that clip a few times and enjoy it like a movie, like a Michael Bay movie. It's just blockbuster for fireworks and popcorn. Nothing actually changing. We do have a Monday sound off coming up at 4:15. I know many of you have thoughts on Bryce Young. If you want to voice them, bookmark this phone number, 919-860-5326. Not for right now, for a little less than an hour from now. But whether you want to talk Bryce, you want to talk college sports, you want to talk Canes hockey, whatever you want to talk about, we'll open up the phone lines for you for a Monday sound off at 4:15. In the meantime, when we come back, we're going to highlight those in the college sports world that deserve a little extra praise. We're going to the Dean's List next. But first, Tim Donnelly here for Bailey's Fine Jewelry, where I'm excited to share this with you. They now have Bell & Ross watches new in their shop. Bell & Ross, for those of you that maybe don't know, but I guarantee you if you are a pilot watch or aviation watch aficionado, you already do. Bell & Ross watches, they've started as aircraft cockpit instrument inspired, which is why you get that iconic square case. But they do so much more now. Obviously, the aviation watch is unreal. The BR-01 is incredible. But military-inspired watches, dive watches, even some bomb disposal team-inspired watches have brought in the scope of what Bell & Ross brings. And they are now in Bailey's Fine Jewelry, specifically at their Village District location in Raleigh, which has the Fox and Bailey Watch Shop. If you want to learn more, if you want to check them out, you can also go to baileybox.com/collections/Bell-Ross. The Bell & Ross watches are pretty darn sweet. You should check them out. And when you stop out to check them out at Bailey's Fine Jewelry, let them know you heard about it from me, Tim, right here on 99.9 The Fan. We'll take a break. When we come back, as promised, the Dean's List.
I'm Galen, co-founder of Brooklyn SolarWorks. With my Chase Inc. Business Premier Card, I get unlimited 2.5% cash back on purchases of $5,000 or more. So everything we buy to run our solar business gives us cash back that we put back into the neighborhood, donating solar panels to community gardens.
Chase Inc. Cash back built for every business. Find the right card at chase.com/Inc. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Cards issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC, subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
Drip Drop is doctor-developed, proven fast hydration that helps your body and mind work better. Trusted by firefighters, medical professionals, and over 90% of top college and pro sports teams. Drip Drop is engineered to hydrate faster and more effectively than water alone, with 3 times the electrolytes of leading sports drinks. Stock up now at dripdrop.com and use promo code RADIO20 for 20% off your first order. That's dripdrop.com, promo code RADIO20.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my running PR, so I'm celebrating with the Banana Bonanza smoothie.
Hey, and you can keep celebrating when you create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Go bananas.
I will. Hey, make it a large.
Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. So college sports is really testing me in that with every change that comes to college sports, NIL, transfer portal, this, that, the other, apparently no more red shirts. With every rule change, I just keep saying, like, how does it change my Saturday? How does it change your Saturday? Does it change the fact that you can sit down at noon and watch all the way to 2 a.m. college football and it can be exciting and entertaining and everything that you look for? They keep changing more rules. They keep doing more with courts. They keep having more lawsuits and injunctions. And I'm just hoping our Saturdays stay intact. And when I say that, it's obviously football focused, right? How does it change your Saturday? But it is a representation of every day that there's college basketball, every day that there are any sport that we care about. They're testing it, all right? We're going to have an influx of players who exhausted their eligibility last year, 4 years of eligibility, that are now court-ordered to be eligible again this year, and I think it's going to get ugly. I still hope our Saturdays are intact. I still think when we tailgate, when we watch a game, it'll be the same feeling because I truly do love college sports, and I think many of us do in this area specifically. So we're going to continue celebrating college sports until one of these rule changes truly takes away the life's blood, the secret sauce of what makes it great. So let's go ahead and jump into the Dean's List. It has been a while, but we do have some auto bids into the Dean's List. The Maxwell Award watch list was revealed. There's both a lot of names on the Maxwell Award watch list, but also maybe not as many as you'd think for a preseason where they really want to cast a wide net. But the Maxwell Award goes to the Player of the Year in college football, and there are two from teams we cover here in the Triangle that have made the list. Nate Shepard, Duke running back, is on the list, and C.J. Bailey, NC State quarterback, are on the list. That's it as far as teams here in the Triangle that we cover. None from Wake Forest as well. Nick Minicucci from Delaware is on the list. We got one.
Of course he is.
We got one. But Nate Shepard, obvious. I mean, you run for 1,100-something yards last year as a freshman. You're going to be on darn near every list the next year. And C.J. Bailey's statistics, both running and throwing, pretty bananas as well. So rightfully earned spot for both of those guys.
Darian Mensah also on that list.
Darian Mensah on the list, as well as Malachi Toney, as well as Mark Fletcher, just from Miami's offense. So the four teams in the state of North Carolina in the ACC combined for two players on the list. Miami's offense has three. That's what you're up against in the ACC this year. But that is the Maxwell Award watch list. And I would expect we're going to start getting, the Doak Walker, all of the Blitnikoff, the Heisman, all of the watch lists are going to be coming out here in the next few weeks. So we'll make sure to highlight those in the Dean's List that make the list. Dennis, do you have a Dean's List you would like to throw out?
I do.
Let's hear it.
I actually have several. Shaquille O'Neal, Chase Rice, Parmalee, Neon Trees, Waka Flocka Flame, and 38 Special.
All right, this is certainly a group.
This is your 2026 Chapel Thrill concert series. So if it's 2 hours before kickoff, so if it's a noon kickoff, it's 10 a.m. If it's an 8 p.m. kickoff, it's 6 p.m. But 2 hours before kickoff, the Chapel Thrill concert series that's presented by the Rams Club takes place over at Polk Place because, they do the Old Well Walk is something they started doing again last year, and there's DJ and all stuff beforehand. But the first home game for UNC this season, September 12th, when they take on East Tennessee State, DJ Diesel, Shaquille O'Neal himself. That's right, Shaq, the four-time NBA champion, the guy you see on Inside the NBA. DJ Diesel will be performing September 12th. Shaq.
He DJs, right?
Apparently, yes.
Yeah, I'll give it to him.
DJ Diesel.
I have a memory vaguely of him in like a tank top DJing somewhere that I've seen on TV. So perhaps he's a DJ. I didn't know anything about Parmalee, but it does seem like they belong in the state of North Carolina.
Apparently.
They have one top 10 country album. It's titled Feels Like Carolina.
Well, they are from Parmalee, North Carolina, so that makes sense.
And their first U.S. country #1 single is titled Just Carolina.
Well, yeah, they're from Parmalee, North Carolina.
They lean into it.
So, yeah.
They lean into it.
Chase Rice, the second home game, October 3rd against Notre Dame. Chase Rice, it's a pretty good one.
Chase Rice played for North Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. I'm like, that to me is like, check that one off the list. But then you mentioned Parmalee, and then against Miami, Neon Trees. I can't say, I think it's an alternative band. I can't say I really know a lot about them. But Waka Flocka Flame, November 14th against Louisville, and then to close things out against NC State, 38 Special. That's a pretty wide range of, you're hitting all the demographics.
Yeah, I mean, Carolina doing their best to start something up last year, and it looks like they're going to try to keep it rolling. We'll see how it goes. Here's what you need to do now, if we're being real. You need to be good enough that any flex time becomes a night game, because a concert at like 6 p.m. is kind of awesome if you have like an 8 o'clock game. A concert at like 9:45 a.m. because you play a noon game.
Like Ludacris last year?
It's just difficult to get the energy to Luda levels at 10 a.m. Right? I'm going to crush some pancakes. I'm going to have some orange juice, and I'm going to roll out. Like it's hard to get to Luda levels. So be good enough to play a lot of at least afternoon games, not those noon games. More Dean's List, if we can follow up that Chapel thrill. Have you seen that Yahoo is trying to bring fantasy football to college?
Who is?
Yahoo. They're doing college fantasy football, which seems very I'm not even in on that, and I'm as nerdy fantasy football as you can get, simply because like I assume like the Western Kentucky quarterback is going to be like the number one pick because they just have an aired out offense and they throw for ridiculous yards.
Yeah, probably runs for a bunch.
Yeah, like you got to find the weird stat outliers rather than like just the best players.
Like Tommy Chang from Hawaii years ago.
Timmy Chang.
Timmy Chang.
Who now is the coach at Hawaii, by the way.
That's
so
right.
I assume the Hawaii quarterback would be a good pick.
Probably.
With Timmy calling the plays. But so I was fascinated, and I clicked on their like whatever their rankings for college football. Nate Shepard, that running back for Duke, he's a top 10 pick.
There you go.
They got him right around the 8th best pick in college fantasy football. And then I kept scrolling. Duke Scott, the NC State running back, 52nd in their rankings. Damon June for UNC, 96. I skipped over one. Jordan Shipp for UNC, wide receiver, 81st. And Carlos Hernandez, Wake Forest, wide receiver, number 100. Those are the local guys that are in the top 100 projected picks by Yahoo's ADP, average draft position for college fantasy. I do think like the first 20 picks would be really fun in that draft. And then you'd be into a lot of guys that like you can't know every player in college football. You'd just be like going, I don't know, does Houston have a wide receiver this year? I'll take one.
Yeah. That's the thing as well. Is like there's some like, for example, there might be a kid at App State that's going to catch 130 passes this season.
Yep.
You don't know. I mean, who knows?
Got to make it work.
Take Jeremiah Smith. That's an easy one.
I do think he was number one. I think he was number one.
That makes perfect sense.
That one, he was. Yes, that was obvious.
Is there like? Could you imagine like there's some dude that's just like researching stats in the MAC, trying to figure out like a running back or something like that?
I need my 9th rounder. I need to get some depth at wide receiver. Quarterbacks, by the way, were so far down this list it was crazy. I imagine just because you'll never run out. Like in the NFL, there's only 32 starters. You know what I mean? And 5 of them. They're shaky on the starting position. Like, there's 50 good statistical quarterbacks, and you're not going to run out, so why would I take one before, grabbing all the running backs? It's a funny bit. We'll see if it becomes a thing for Yahoo, but congratulations to Nate Shepard on being a projected top 10 pick.
I also wonder as well, because this is a weird thing. I wish they changed it in college football. In college football, if you're sacked as a quarterback, it goes against your rushing stats.
Yes.
So I wonder if that's kind of the part of the thing as well. It kind of devalues you because you might actually run on traditional carries or scrambles, actually pick up 50 yards, but you get sacked 4 times, and all of a sudden, like, oh, your rushing stats were like 3.
Quarterbacks have lost a lot of time explaining to their friends that they didn't actually run for like 20 yards on a season. I actually ran for like 400, but I took some sacks, and it took away from it. Being in the positive is good. Offensive line, remember when our 3 guys were hurt? I was getting killed. Yeah, it happens. One more Dean's List. I'm putting Duke basketball on the Dean's List.
Oh, okay.
ESPN updated their way too early top 25 now that most of the portal and Europe players are at it. I assume this is pre-fifth years getting more attention. Duke is number 2. That's not why I'm putting them on the Dean's List. I'm on the Dean's List because they are scheduled to play this year, according to ESPN's way too early top 25 basketball. Duke is scheduled to play number 1, number 3, number 5, number 6, number 9, number 12, number 13, number 22, number 25. They had scheduled number 8, but they couldn't make it work with Michigan. But they tried to play number 8. And there are a few teams in the also like just off the list that they were trying to play in the top 30, we'll call it, for being the 5 right off. That is an insane difficulty of schedule. Most of those are chosen, by the way. 12 and 13 were Louisville and Virginia. Those are ACC schools. You don't get to choose. But number 1, number 3, number 5, number 6, number 9, number 22, and number 25 are all non-conference games.
And throw in Carolina twice.
They were, I believe, in that also receiving category. That's pretty ridiculous of a non-conference schedule, and I like it because you're not running away from it. You want all the smoke, and you're on the Dean's List for it. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We can dismiss the Dean's List. And if you have college sports thoughts, Monday Sound Off is coming up, 4:15. We will open up the phone lines. So be ready for it. We'll give you the phone number when it's time to call in. But Monday Sound Off coming up at 4:15. When we come back, winners and losers. We got to name who won and who lost the last week. Stick around.
You're listening to the Financial Safari News Network.
From Coach Pete's Money Desk, America's wealth coach and author of the big book on retirement, Coach Pete D'Arruda. Coach, what's a good strategy with debt as we near retirement?
I saw something come across the wires the other day. Macy's just introduced to the world a news release that they're going to start charging 35% interest on their credit card that they have.
Whoa.
Now, I've seen 29.9 with some folks that have come in from the radio and say, Coach, well, we got this debt. What should we do with it? I said, number one, stop saving and pay this debt off. Like if you're trying to save at a bank or even in the stock market, could you really get a 30% return? Here's a guaranteed 30% return. If you have a debt or any kind of debt, whatever the interest rate on that debt is, if you pay that off, that's the return you're getting because you're not having to pay that debt anymore. So if you're paying off a 30% credit card with money, you in effect earn 30% because you're not paying 30% anymore.
Good strategies. 888-456-7577, 888-456-7577, or text ZONE to 600-700.
Investment advisory services offered by Capital Financial Advisory Group, a North Carolina registered investment advisor.
I'm glad you agreed to this date, Mr. First Tuesday.
Oh, me too, but I have to admit something. I've never been on a first date.
But you are a date, and first is in your name.
Yeah, I guess I've just been married to my work, you know? Spreading the news about new scratch-offs coming out every first Tuesday.
New scratch-offs release every first Tuesday?
Wait, you don't know about new scratch-off tickets that come out the fur? Okay. Well, okay. You got me.
Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline, 877-718-5543.
You hear that? That's the sound of Pepsi Zero Sugar. The better tasting, more refreshing Zero Sugar Cola. Listen to that endless pour. If it sounds this good, just imagine how it tastes. So good. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Let your taste decide.
Stop by Refuel and get 25 cents off per gallon when you buy 2 20-ounce Pepsi Zero Sugars with Refuel Rewards.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
John's day is off to a slow start. So he heads to AutoZone, where he can get a battery for under $100. Lonnie, a local AutoZoner, tests his battery for free. Looks like he just needs a charge, and Lonnie does that for free too. In no time at all, John is back on the road, ready to finish the day strong. Free battery testing and charging at every store. No hassles, just help.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Monday Sound Off coming up at 4:15. Be ready to call in with your questions, thoughts, comments. And also, visit 999thefan.com and enter for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Tim McGraw at Coastal Credit Union Music Park on August 7th. Again, 999thefan.com, and I believe the 999 The Fan app will work as well.
That's right.
You go to the website, 999thefan.com, or to the 999 The Fan app, which can be downloaded from the Google Play or App Store, depending on what type of phone you have. And you can enter for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Tim McGraw, Coastal Credit Union Music Park on August 7th. Little Don't Take the Girl, or Live Like You're Dying. Tim McGraw, you know who it is. And I believe that's everything you need to know about that. So we can then pivot and jump into winners and losers.
This team will never lose again.
All right, winners and losers over the last week. And I will emphasize again, this is vibes and aura, much more than scoreboard. Anybody can check the box score, but it takes something special to be able to identify who won and lost in aura and vibes. We'll start with, this is a 8-parter. Okay?
Oh, okay. Starting there.
Yeah, we're starting with 8 parts. 8 parts.
This is a winner or a loser?
Winners.
Okay.
They're all winners. Huff High School, Grimsley High School, Northern Nash High School, J.M. Robinson High School, Reedsville High School, Lincolnton High School, Starmount High School, and Wilson Prep Academy High School.
Did you say Lincolnton?
Yeah.
That's my fiance went.
Well, they are one of the teams that are picked preseason number 1 by High School OT for high school football in their class, right? 8A, 7A, 6A, 5A, all the way down to 1A. They are the preseason number 1s. If you want to know the rest of the top 10s and you want to know the rest of the moving and the shaking, highschoolot.com was the place. But I think I read them all. I read all 8 there. Those are the winners because they're starting with the target on their back.
Let's go, Lincolnton.
They are the 3A
Let's
preseason
go.
number 1. 3A, Lincolnton.
Lincolnton Wolves, baby. Let's go.
Grimsley's number 1. Even they had like 2 of the top recruits in the country graduate last year, so they're just replacing, right? That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, to me. Oh, yeah, it's the best quarterback in the country.
Yeah, quarterback's probably going to be starting for Tennessee this year.
Yeah.
And you're still the preseason number 1.
My fiance texted me, L-Town represent.
Hey, there you go.
Let's go, Lincolnton. I'm going to be all in on Lincoln.
3A preseason number 1.
Let's go.
According to High School OT, and trust me, they know their stuff.
They do.
They are fact books. They're our colleagues here at Capital Broadcasting. Anything high school sports in the state of North Carolina, they are on top of it. So I trust their list. But those 8 schools, all on the winner list. If you want more, and really, like, I could have read the top 10 for every class. We would have been here all day. But if you're top 10 in your high school class, you're pretty good, and you're probably going to win a bunch of games. Probably a winner. Loser. I got to do it. How about the NCAA? How do you go 1 for 1,000 in court cases? Like, you lose so gosh darn always. And you probably spend a lot on lawyer fees and everything as well. So the NCAA, now you got kids telling you, I will be done with my eligibility when I say I'm done. And the NCAA kind of is just going like, okay. The judge is making us. But it's going to be chaos, and there's nothing the NCAA can do to stop it. Other than coming together as a group and allowing players to be employees and thus unionize and then collectively bargain, which would solve all of this. Because then once the Players Association signs off on a change, the players don't get to take you to court. But that's probably a conversation for another day. Dennis, do you have some winners and losers you'd like to put out here?
Well, I'm also going to throw the NCAA in there.
As a winner or a loser?
As a loser. Always a loser.
I'm just making sure.
But the NCAA, I'm going to throw them in there as well because they're trying to get like the Protect College Sports Act passed and all that stuff through Congress. That's not going to happen. It's not going to leave the Senate floor, looks like. There's been 40-plus bills that have been introduced to Congress, and none of them have ever been voted on. Like, eventually, stop trying. Stop trying. How much time and money have you wasted to try and get bills passed through Congress to fix your own mess? Because you can't take care of your own house.
I imagine, and I don't know politics, and I stay away from politics on the show, I imagine a lot of it is just to curry favor for politicians. Like, I've put together something that will fix college sports, and I just can't get it to be passed, but I'm trying. And then everyone that loves college sports is like, oh, good, they're trying. Vote for you. I think a lot of it is performative.
It probably is some of that, but these are also, we talk about like the commissioners of these conferences, athletic directors are the ones who are also trying to push this as well. I'm like, again, this is not a right side or left discussion. It's a policy discussion. And people in power in college sports are trying to push policies. And guess what? It ain't happening. So stop trying. Fix your own mess.
Or I think this is also something that college sports might be trying to do. Let it get so bad that the federal government has to step in because they're just like, this is ridiculous.
Government ain't going to step in. They haven't done it already.
I agree. But I think there's like,
they're not going to.
They're just trying to make it worse and worse and worse until they got to.
Man, you made your bed, you sleep in it.
Not a lot of sleep, I don't believe. I think coaches are up around the clock right now, not knowing what's going to happen with their teams.
I'm not going to lie, I feel bad for coaches in that regard because it's like, well, wait a second, hold on, the eligibility rules just changed. Wait, this judge just passed this thing. Now this is getting rescinded. Like, what's happening here?
I have the quote from Jake Dickert here, the coach of Wake Forest.
Yeah.
He's sticking with his football team. Here it is. After their first fall camp practice, we're going to be sticking with our football team. I believe in these guys. We're ready. That's who we're rolling with. Obviously, that whole kind of confirmation that he likes his team, only necessary because teams are going to have to decide whether to bring in these fifth years or not. He's saying no. Now, who knows how that would be if maybe a player good enough to really pique his fancy shows up and wants to play for him. But I do think there's something honorable in just saying, no, the people I promised this year, they're getting this year. We'll see how it works out for them. More winners and losers. Winner, the Dodgers. Loser, teams that have to play the Dodgers. I think I saw that their pitching staff would be the 18th highest paid entire team in Major League Baseball. That's tough. That's tough to compete with. I'm also learning, and don't quote me exactly on this, but the gist of it is true. When the Dodgers were maybe sold like during a divorce proceeding and they were broke, Major League Baseball granted them some kind of special money from their television deal that they get to keep that others wouldn't. So and they're just now, it's still going on. So they just get more money from their television deal than other teams because at one point they were broke, even though they are definitely not broke anymore.
No, because they were working in bankruptcy. So the way it works with local media rights in Major League Baseball is that each team takes 1/3 of their local media rights that they make, and it all gets put into a pool. And then that money then gets evenly distributed about among all the teams. So that's why lower market, smaller market teams can actually gain more money, but a larger market team will actually lose some in that regard. Again, to trying to keep some sort of fair and balance. Well, like you mentioned, all the way through the year 2039 for the Dodgers is because, again, a company that at the time had filed for bankruptcy, an ownership that did. And in terms of fair market and all that stuff, Major League Baseball and federal courts and all this kind of stuff allowed them to not give up as much money per year. So there's about $66 million per year more the Dodgers have than they normally would.
They're rich anyway, but they're richer because of.
Yeah.
And
there's all this deferred money and all that kind of stuff.
So it's tough to go against the Dodgers right now. Tough.
That's through 2039, by the way.
It's a long time.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds like we're talking about the ACC grant rights or something like that. It's just like, oh, they signed a deal for too long. I got you.
So, yeah, their media rights deal.
I think it's 2036.
I think it's because it was a 25-year deal. And it was $8 billion over 25 years. So I think it takes it to 2039.
Insane.
Yeah.
More winners and losers. How about this one? Loser. The NHL's top 20 wings, according to NHL Network and NHL Media.
Talking garlic parmesan?
Well, would that make the top 20?
Oh, easily.
The NHL's top 20 wings, meaning top 20 right and left wingers.
Oh, wingers.
Forwards.
Got it.
The NHL and their media, I guess, voted on and put out a list of the top 20 wingers, and none of them won the Stanley Cup this year. So they're losers because none of them won the Stanley Cup. That's another way to say none of the Carolina Hurricanes were on that list. No Jarvis, no Ehlers, no Svetch, no wings. No Jackson Blake, no wings from the Canes. Supposedly are in the top 20 in the NHL. Yet they had the second most goals scored and won the Stanley Cup. Pretty good without any superstar wings. So the rest of them must be losers. All right, we'll go with two more here before we move on. Winner, Xavier Leggett. I mean, next man up league, right? Chris Brazel goes down. job's a little bit safer with the number 3 wide receiver spot. Next man up opportunities. It's a callous way to look at it, but he's pretty much locked into having a role again this year, maybe despite what many Panther fans would love. And then loser, just because I thought this was crazy, Northwestern football. David Hale, friend of the show, he writes for ESPN College Football. He's been doing his stat of the day. Every team in the Power Conference gets a stat for 68 days going into the start of college football. Today was Northwestern Day. You ready for a stat here? Last year, their quarterback Preston Stone completed 60% of his passes with 17 pass touchdowns. That's the most in a season by a Northwestern quarterback since 2018. That's not the stat. That's just a little
How many
appetizer.
passing touchdowns?
17.
17, okay.
Just a little appetizer. No Northwestern quarterback has completed 60 or more % of his passes and thrown 20 touchdowns since 2005. In the meantime, so since 2005, since the last time a Northwestern quarterback has done it, 542 different FBS quarterbacks have done that 842 combined times. At least 60% completion percentage, at least 20 passing touchdowns. 842 times it's happened since the last time Northwestern did it. Northwestern, sorry, got to be a loser.
So what you're saying is don't draft the Northwestern quarterback on my fantasy team.
Correct. It's just history tells us not a lot of touchdowns and a low completion percentage. That's crazy. But the Big Ten is so big, bad, and tough, isn't it? They're playing teams like Northwestern. That's it for winners and losers here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. When we come back, football at 4. We give you some Fan Fest, a.k.a. Big Practice reactions. Stick around.
See if you're a winner every night. Watch live lottery drawings on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. That's right, Carolina Pick 3, Carolina Pick 4, and Carolina Cash 5 numbers every night on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. See if you're a winner before you go off to bed. Get your lottery numbers live every night.
North Carolina Education Lottery.
Only on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news.
At Wake Orthopedics Urgent Care, we spend days, nights, and weekends in 3 convenient locations providing specialized care for kids and adults. Sprains and strains, shoulders and knees, fractures, hammies, and more. All that and all without an appointment. Walk in or limp in, either way you'll get the care you need whenever you need it. Visit us today at wakemed.org.
Meet Matthew Preston. Inside his apartment, everything he holds dear is protected by Progressive's Renter's Insurance, like his laptop and a surprisingly valuable collection of baseball bobbleheads. Outside his apartment, his laptop is still protected, as are his bobbleheads, which he carries around with him for reasons no one knows. Renters, the limits of protection aren't just the 4 walls of your home. When you're in Progressive's Protection Zone, get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers.
Plenty of companies will sell you a new roof. Fewer will tell you if you actually need one. Since 1915, people across the Carolinas have trusted the Baker name to do right by their homes. Baker Home Exteriors now does roofing, siding, windows, and doors, and always honest advice. The motto puts it plainly: we shall do good work, at a profit if we can, at a loss if we must, but always good work. Trust the team that's earned it for over 100 years. Baker Home Exteriors. Visit bakerhomeexteriors.com.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Eagle Leasing Storage Studio. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Canes light the lamp here.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. This afternoon, a high of 88 degrees, mainly cloudy skies, with a chance of showers and thunderstorms mainly focused along and east of I-95. 75 overnight tonight, and tomorrow the rain is more widespread across our area. Some of it will be heavy at times. We'll see some storms in the afternoon with highs in the mid-80s.
This hour of the drive is brought to you by Law Tigers. Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you call your insurance company. Case evaluations are always free. You don't pay a dime until your case settles. Law Tigers, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 709 points to 53,194.
Let's move the chains. Time for Football at 4.
Football at 4 here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Football at 4 is brought to you by John Heister, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington. Get off your keister and come to Heister. Over the weekend, there was FanFest. FanFest is essentially a hybrid exhibition show-off for the fans practice for the Carolina Panthers.
It's a glorified practice.
It's like a practice with pomp and circumstance. Dennis, you were there. What'd you learn? Give us the breakdown. What stood out and everything else.
It was interesting talking to people in and around the organization about how just the energy at Bank of America, because there were, I think it was about 47,000 or so tickets that at least they said were distributed, and I would say over half the stadium was full. It was probably, I would say about 40,000 people, I think is what they said, or a little over 40,000. But the energy from, again, talking to people who have been with the organization for a long time, that the energy from the crowd was the most palpable it's been since Cam Newton was the starting quarterback. That was the biggest thing I got. And you can also tell talking to players afterwards. We talked to Jalen Coker and Lee Hunter afterwards, and even Dave Canales himself, that they even felt like there was more energy than compared to last season. I think obviously there's that's a byproduct of a team that just made the playoffs last year. So I think people are anxious to see. Also, as well as that, because the Carolina Panthers are still working on their practice facility, their outdoor practice facility that they're building, it's right next to Bank of America, but fans aren't allowed to attend practice and training camp. Second straight year that's happened. So for a lot of people, it's their first chance to actually go watch these guys since they're played in the playoff game. And so anyway, the energy was really great. There's a lot of 11-on-11. They did some special team stuff, but mostly it's just a lot of 11-on-11. Hey, we're just going to run a bunch of our plays type deal.
And I mean, I think you hit on it, right? With it being the most exciting or whatever you want to call it since Cam Newton. Last year was probably the most successful team since Cam Newton. And
yeah.
the writing, the saying is a saying for a reason, which is winning solves everything, right? If there's not fan interest, win some more. If you want to sell more merch, win some more. If you want everybody to have a better opinion of your team, win some more. And they won just enough bit more last year, not over 500 or anything, but they squeaked into the playoffs and looked good while they were there. So yeah, you get to have a bigger kind of atmosphere. Bigger is not the right word because you're always doing the same environments, but just a higher energy level. And then the other thing is you got to make sure you connect on a few big plays, right? And you were there, you saw them all, but I only see the ones that get passed around. I saw like a Kenny Pickett to Bryson Tremaine deep ball, and
yeah.
It's going like, yeah, even whoever's out there, highlights are highlights, and you needed to come with some to make good on the buzz there, right? You can't bring everybody, and I think colleges do this a lot with spring games. You can't bring all your fans there and be boring, right? Because colleges, when they go to like the scrimmages and the scoring system is impossible to know, and there's a turnover and the coach goes, no, keep the drive alive. Like you got to make some plays, you got to make it exciting, or else you just got everybody together to like watch paint dry, and that's not going to turn anyone into a bigger, more excited fan for this year.
I know there's a deep pass from Bryce to Jalen Coker over the middle of the field, which I think Lathan Ransom probably would have crushed him, but obviously you're going to pull up and not hit your teammate. But they even ran a trick play. Like they ran like this reverse pass for Jalen Coker, and he tried to fit one into like a tight area, and it got picked off by J.C. Horn, and he joked afterwards. It's like, hey, what happened on that play? He's like, well, J.C. wasn't supposed to be there. But you throw a trick play and things like that in there to get the fans going a little bit as well. They also had they've done this every year with FanFest, is they have someone from Make-A-Wish Foundation there as well. A little kid named Asher who is just just you talk about someone controlling the crowd as a 6-year-old. The kid was out there just running up and down the field, and everything. So they did that to cap it off. The players really like it. The fans really got into it as well. So and
I saw
really
Jalen Phillips was the one that grabbed him and held him up in the air to celebrate after he scored the touchdown, which is a cool moment. And I mean, everybody bought in for that, which is easy to do, but it's still a moment that I'm sure Asher will never forget.
Yeah. And he was great. We actually did a little pre-practice press conference with him because the Panthers signed him to a deal. So Dan Morgan was up there on the podium with them and did a little presser. His dad was up there too. Asher was. Anyway, it was a lot of fun to be able to do that pre-practice and all that and kind of cap it off with that as well. But I say this in all real to be real here. It really is a glorified practice. It's what it is. But it is fun seeing the players walk around Bank of America signing autographs, and J.J. Jansen's out there just like playing catch with there's just kids up in the crowd just throwing the ball to him like, okay, yeah, ball's coming to you. Just playing catch with kids as they're standing up there in the stands. It really is a lot of fun.
And then on top of that, it is to maybe move away from the ceremony of it all and to who was on the field. Young guys, I mean, it's as close as you're going to get to a game-like situation as far as jitters and in the fans. And if you drop a pass, everybody's going to go, oh, and you're going to feel like you bummed everybody out. If you make a play, the crowd's going to go wild, and you get to feel a little bit of that, which I think is important for the young guys. Obviously, Tedero McMillan, he knows what it's like to make a huge play, but some guy who's just trying to make the team and a rookie that hasn't played major college football, small school guy, it can help there. So you got to look for who rises to those occasions and who gets a little jittery. Neither is the end of the world, by the way. You get a little jittery, you learn from it, and next time you come back less nervous. But it's sometimes the first flash you get of a really good player.
One of the things that Carolina did as well, because I mean, this is Dave Canales taking advantage of an opportunity, as he would say. So one thing that they did was they actually had coaches up in the booth. So they were still talking in, communicating, through the headsets and all those kinds of things. And then on one side of the field was the offensive players, and on the opposite side of the field were the defensive players. So they're substituting from the sideline like you would during the course of a game. Like, hey, we need this personnel out there. So, obviously you have a game coming up on Thursday. I know it's a Hall of Fame game. It's preseason, but it was a chance for, hey, rookies, this is also how we warm up. They went through their traditional pregame warm-up and stuff as well on the field. So, again, it was almost like a dress rehearsal for your dress rehearsals.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
Let's hear from some of them. This is actually after today's practice. But one of the players who, in any situation, glorified practice, real practice, preseason, anytime he's playing, I'm going to have an eye on Princely Umanmielen because he's forced into a bigger role with the Nick Scorton injury, and I believe he's going to have to play well in order to take advantage of Jalen Phillips playing well or Derek Brown playing well. You need that kind of quintessential edge rusher. So let's hear from Dave Canales first on one of the players who might be in the mood for a little star turn this year if everything goes right. Here's Dave Canales on how Princely Umanmielen can become a complete player.
Princely, just take the next step. For him, it was about, we know he's got pass rush. Can he be consistent in execution across the board with different play styles, with different play types, whether it's play action, run game, the different types of runs and how the outside linebacker has to play those runs. He's got to have all those things in his tool belt to be able to know how to take on different blocks, the sift blocks from tight ends, the bluff blocks, taking on tackles, gap schemes, all those things. It's all just gathering that information so that he can be the complete player we believe he can be, that can rush the passer, but that can also give you valuable downs on first and second down.
It needs to be a big timer. We actually have audio from Princely Umanmielen, who spoke to the media today. To preface this next one, Jalen Phillips very much gave Princely Umanmielen a lot of love earlier in camp. Best pass rusher on the team and pure skills and all of that. Here's Princely on what it meant to get praise from Jalen Phillips.
It meant a lot. I had saw it on Instagram and I had walked up to him and I told him I appreciate him for, showing love and just showing love to me. And it just means a lot coming from a guy like that, first round guy that's made a name for himself in the NFL.
Princely, if he were less confident, bordering on arrogant in most interactions that he's had with the media, maybe I'd be like, this could be great for his confidence. I think his confidence, the glass is already overflowing. He didn't need Jalen Phillips to tell him he's going to be this or he's going to be that. I think he believed it, which I like about Princely. I'm not saying that as a negative. But he did also give a little how he's changed this year talk, right? Everybody, renewed this, renewed that over the offseason and everything else. Here's Princely Umanmielen on how he changed his lifestyle and his ways this offseason.
I just try to tone in on just everything in my life as a whole. Like, I improved my sleep quality, how long I go to sleep. I improved my nutrition, start taking, vitamins. I start reading more, I just try to execute discipline in all areas of my life.
I don't believe any of that. And I'm not saying I don't believe it for him. I'm saying I don't believe it for players when they come in and they're all, I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that. Everybody, what is he supposed to say when you ask about changing his ways? Like, actually, I didn't eat that healthy. Like, it's coach speak at this point, right? It's every player needs to play hard. It's, of course. It's needed to do this, needed to do that. It's best shape of my life season is what we call it for a reason. It's not because only the people that actually did it tell us. I'm not saying he did or he didn't. I'm saying there's really only one way to find out, and that's just to be more fit, I guess, and be more ready and be more mature and be more everything. I always go back to this one, and I don't know why it always pops into my head. It was Emmanuel Sanders, and it was when he was on the Broncos. They were talking a wide receiver from, 10 years ago. He had already played. How long was he on the Steelers? Had to be 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, around that time. He was drafted the same year as Antonio Brown.
Okay, so he'd been in Pittsburgh for a while, and then he was on the Broncos. And he made this big deal, or the media made this big deal about how he stopped crushing 20 nuggets every time he passed a fast food restaurant. And it was he's going to be so good this year. And I remember going, it took him 8 years in the NFL to stop smoking fast food every single time he drove by it. And we're celebrating that. We really should have gotten on him 7 years ago for still doing that. So it's there's different strokes for different folks. You got to do whatever works for you. I'm not saying everybody's got to eat clean and vegan and, kale salads for every single meal. But I assume most professional athletes take it seriously enough to treat their body right and do everything right in the offseason, and they should come into the preseason feeling as good as they ever have.
Well, I think the thing that he was really getting at, that at least that thing that stood out to me, was that being more disciplined in his everyday life in terms of, again, sleep quality and all this guys. Because obviously when you're at college, it's you stay up till 1 a.m, you wake up at 6 and you just go. As opposed to, actually, this is better for my recovery. And it's this growth from year 1 to year 2.
I hope it is. I hope it happened.
Yeah.
But if I was and I'm talking me now, not Princely. If I were staying up till 2 a.m. playing video games every night and someone asked me about my sleep schedule in the off season, I'm darn sure not being honest, right? I'm not going you guys saw the new Call of Duty that came out. How you expect me? I only had to work out 4 hours that day. I can do it from noon to 4. It doesn't have to be 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. You know what I'm saying? I tend to give people that play better a lot more credit for that after they explain why they're playing better or playing, more GPS high fast times, that kind of deal, rather than at this point in the season. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is Football at 4. Football at 4. Brought to you by John Heister, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram in Lillington. Get off your keister and come to Heister. We're going to be opening up the phone lines for a Monday sound off in just 1 minute. But first, Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. Miller Lending. If closing costs are what's stopping you from buying your home or refinancing your home because you locked in your rate, your mortgage rate, your interest rate at the top of the market a few years ago, don't let it. Miller Lending offers something called a no-cost loan. So if the closing costs are what's stopping you, a no-closing cost loan, a no-cost loan should open up that door for you, wide open for you to walk through. Miller Lending, by the way, I was talking with someone earlier today about the mortgage game, and this was a piece of advice that I had never gotten, but ask for everything written down as far as what costs you're paying, what the rate is, how much points you're buying down. Ask for everything in writing and explained. So when Miller Lending says a no-cost loan, they're not taking your closing costs and rolling them in somewhere else and calling them something new and being like, there's no closing costs. Those are actually end of the signing fees. Like they don't do that. So wherever you go for your mortgage, make sure you know every dollar, where it is going and for what, and ask questions about it. Miller Lending loves questions. They'll answer them all for you. It's really a simple thing just to make sure you know where your money's going. Again, the number for Miller Lending where they can start answering those questions that you have, 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377. Or visit them online at millerlending.com. That's millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, and MLS number 250-2146. We'll take a break when we come back. Monday sound off, so call in now. 919-860-5326. That is the Heister Automotive Group hotline. 919-860-5326. You get to control what we talk about. You want to talk Panthers. You want to talk Canes. You want to talk college sports. You want to talk NBA. You want to talk Major League Baseball trade deadline. You want to talk anything. Heister Automotive Group hotline is open for you. 919-860-5326. Call in now. Monday sound off next.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
It's disgusting. It's annoying. If a billionaire tells you, hey, I just bought another yacht, are you like, wow, amazing, way to go? You're like, cool, rub it in. I don't have air conditioning. I don't think this is fun for other fans around Major League Baseball. The Dodgers can get anybody they want, and the worst part about this is a lockout is all but signed, sealed, delivered.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Yeah, can you pass me a Baja?
A what?
Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Try it. It's tropical at first, then the lime flavor hits.
Oh, okay. That's crisp. Tastes like vacation.
Right?
Mm-hmm. And it's mine now.
Have a Baja Blast.
Right now at Circle K, buy a 20-ounce Mountain Dew and get another for just $1. Do the Dew at Circle K today.
You could argue that making jewelry by hand is yesterday's way of doing it. You could claim that being particular about custom design and old-world craftsmanship slows down the process. You could call us old-fashioned, and you'd be right. Because the heart and soul of Bailey's is our workshop, where skilled craftsmen create heirlooms meant to last for generations. Come see why we've been voted the best jeweler year after year. Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Every woman wants a Bailey box.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a social media manager.
Did you just post our Q4 earnings to your personal social media?
Oh yeah, used a trending audio and everything.
That's confidential financial data.
Relax. It only went a little viral.
The SEC just commented with the eyeball watching emoji.
This is a job for sponsored jobs.
This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we get to your calls, and it is a Monday sound off, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, 99.9 The Fan. Once you do that, get two of your friends to also subscribe to our YouTube channel, 99.9 The Fan. And if you're one of those people, like I'm grouping you together stereotypically, if you are one of the frequent commenters on our YouTube, I think you would be a great candidate to call in on a Monday sound off and voice your opinion here, where we can go back and forth a little bit. So let's go ahead and fire up the Monday sound off. Again, the phone lines are open. Heister Automotive Group hotline, 919-860-5326. Call in now, and if you don't get through, keep calling. Lines will open up, and we want to hear from as many of you as possible. 919-860-5326. We start with Jeff in Raleigh. Wants to sound off on the Panthers. Jeff, welcome to the show. Go ahead and sound off.
How you doing today, Dennis?
Are you there?
I am. How you doing today?
We're doing well. What do you got for us?
Same as last week. I got one comment, and then I'm going to go into the Panthers. Why are we caring about Belichick and North Carolina, other than being local? I mean, my goodness, who thought that would be anything but a crap show when he showed up there with his girlfriend out there in front, PR or whatever? And it's not done well. Now they've got issues with the GM.
Yep. Okay. I
just don't get all this airtime for LeBron and all these people that.
I will tell you why we care about Belichick. I'll tell you why we care about Belichick in a second. What's your point on the Panthers?
Well, same as I said last week. Other teams are going to have injuries too. With Gordon, yeah, that happened, and now we lost a wide receiver. But that can't end your season. You roll on and you go with the players you got, and if the players we have, and they've done a very good job with developing their people. If the players they have step up, and maybe they're not as good, but if they take steps forward and then those guys come back, going forward, we're going to be fine. I'm just not worried about Carolina like everyone else is. We're going to win 9 games. Whether that's enough to win the division, who knows? Okay.
All right, Jeff. I wish I shared your confidence level. I'll answer both of those points kind of back to back here. And other callers, feel free, 919-860-5326. Why do we care about Belichick? We care about Carolina. We care about the Tar Heels. He is the most important person for the Carolina Tar Heels football program. So that's why we talk about it. It's the same is true for any team that you're a fan of or any team that you cover professionally. The people might come and go. The team is what's always there. And you talk about the good and the bad and what needs to fix and what needs to go on. If Bill Belichick never came to Carolina, if he even came to college, but he went to go coach Northwestern, we wouldn't be talking about him nearly as much, if at all, because he would just be a former Patriots coach that's coaching Northwestern. But he came into our purview. He came into the ACC, he came into the Triangle, and he's coaching at Carolina. So, of course, we're going to talk about him. Now, the other question is, other teams will have injuries too. Yeah. The better teams that have deeper rosters can sustain injuries better than the teams that don't have as much depth. And certain injuries will hit teams more. And while every team will sustain injuries, not every team is going to get hit hard in key positions. They're like the Taylor Moton injury. You didn't bring that up, right? He's a non-football illness for the blood clot. You didn't bring that up. Do you know why? Because the Panthers had a first-rounder sitting there waiting to take his spot. So it's like, okay, they could sustain that one. Nobody's freaking out about that. The Nick Scourton injury, some people are pretty up in arms about. Why? Because he was a player that didn't have like a super stud sitting right behind him, obviously ready to take his spot. Their injuries matter. Matter of fact, sometimes the best teams in the league get upended by injuries and then they miss the playoffs. There's some people having some real interesting conversations about the Niners and injuries right now. You look at the Niners roster on paper, they're unreal. You look at the Niners' success over the last, couple years, largely not there at the level you would expect due to injuries. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Again, it is a Monday sound-off, so the Heister Automotive Group hotline is open, 919-860-5326. Panthers talk, Canes talk, college talk, whatever you want, all the way down to JoCo softball. We have Jamie in Four Oaks wants to sound off on some softball. Jamie, welcome to the show. The floor is yours.
Hey, sir. Yeah, I just wanted to give a shout-out to the JoCo Little League Softball World Series. Those girls are putting in work. They didn't play last night because of rain delay. They came in this morning, they were down 3-0. Came back and won that game 16-4. Up until that point, they haven't even allowed a run, and those girls are playing some great softball right now. And I just wanted to give a shout out.
All right, we appreciate that. I do love both the Little League Softball World Series and the Little League Baseball World Series. And the JoCo, I believe they're identified on, like, when you watch on TV as Clayton, North Carolina.
Yeah, it's Johnston County.
Yeah, I'm just in case you're watching and looking for them. I think they play again tonight, against Texas maybe. But they did smoke the other team in the opening round. So thank you, Jamie, for highlighting that. The memories for those girls, I can't imagine. The gear they get playing on TV, playing against the best teams from not only around the country but hopefully around the world. That's like I said, that's a memory that they will not soon forget. And I'm sure the entire county and town of JoCo and Clayton are celebrating, as they should be. And really, the entire state should get behind them. Once you get to a certain level, right, you might be a rivalry with them, but once they're against another team, it's like, no. We're the only ones that are allowed to talk trash. Let's go back to the call-in line. Monday Sound-Off, 919-860-5326. We have Sean in Virginia wants to sound off on NC State, so let's go ahead and bring him on. Sean, welcome to the show. Go ahead and sound off.
Hey, Tim, I just have a quick question for you. Wanted to see what are your expectations out of the Wolfpack this year?
All right, that's a deep question, Sean. Is this the annual question of will the NC State win 10 games? Is that what you're getting at here?
I mean, do we have a chance to, I don't know, win an NC championship game or fire the head coach? You know, go either way.
All right, Sean, I appreciate it. I'll give you the Cliff Notes version.
All right, sounds good.
Here's the deal. Their schedule is being, what's the reverse hype? Is being like downplayed a ton. I'm not as like dead set on their schedule being super duper easy because I think teams year to year can move up or down more now with the transfer portal than they really ever have. But they've dodged the big bad bullies as they are predicted in the ACC this year. So there's some of that going around as far as like they could put together a high win total season even if they are a similar level of team that they were last year. There's no Clemson. There's no Miami. There's no there's one other team that they've dodged. I forget. But they do play
SMU.
Louisville. No SMU. That is exactly what it is. They do play Louisville, but it's at home. All right. They have some of that stuff going on. They play Virginia on the road to start. I think that game's going to be super important, just of trajectory of season for NC State. Week 0 in Charlottesville. It was supposed to be in Brazil. They can win 10 games. I do not see this year being the year that they fire their coach because I think they have the quarterback. I think they have an improving defense, and I think they have a schedule that's on the lighter side. And if anything, State has proven there's no way they're firing a coach after like an 8-win season. And I think they'll get there. 7-8 games floor. 10 ACC championship game appearance beyond, that gets pretty hairy for me because I need to see that defense play a lot better over an entire year, and I need to see how they replace some pretty darn good playmakers in the offensive room. Hollywood Smothers, Noah Rogers, Terrell Anderson, on and on and on.
And their first 2 ACC games are Virginia and Louisville.
So we'll probably know a lot
real
about
quick.
Them. It could easily be a kind of a stereotypical Dave Doran year. If they drop to Virginia, they drop to Louisville, maybe Vanderbilt, and he's 2-3, the world is going to go crazy. Then they're going to catch Louisville, Stanford, Cal, Duke, Syracuse, Florida State, North Carolina. They could be 2-3 and finish with 8 wins, and then a bowl game could be a 9-win season, and you know how that goes. I don't know if that answered the question. I think there's a wide range of outcomes for them, and a lot have to do with how good the teams they're playing are. I do think C.J. Bailey is as good as anybody in the ACC or country at quarterback.
This feels like a 9-win season for them because, again, their schedule is not as difficult.
But it's very much like not all 9-win seasons are created the same.
Exactly.
If they go 2-3 to start and then win 7 straight, it'll feel like they saved a bad season. If if they lose to Vanderbilt and have 7 wins in the ACC, like goodness, now you're looking at, do they make the ACC championship and everything else? It gets not all 9 wins are made the same. Back to the call-in line. We have Gray in Raleigh. That sound means you should call in. Monday Sound Off, 919-860-5326. Gray in Raleigh wants to sound off on the Panthers. You can as well, or anything else you want to talk about. Gray, welcome to the show. Happy to have you. Go ahead and sound off.
What's up, guys? Good to be back on again. Talking about the Panthers. I'm going to be bothering you all a lot on Monday once we get into the season. Just kind of wanted to shout out. The Panthers are playing. Really excited to watch them again. I think one of y'all started talking about it at the start of the show. I know a lot of people are kind of pissed off tonight about most of the offense or the starters not playing. I'm mostly excited to see who on defense they consider quote-unquote starters outside of obviously the main crew. See how they play and see how special teams goes. I think it's going to be just a fun game to watch. And from there, I wanted to get into the regular season a little bit in advance and early. I'm calling a win against the Bears. I think we're going to go in strong. I think usually we start the season soft, and everybody looks kind of like they haven't gotten in their groove. And I think a lot of that starts with Bryce, who kind of still was down on his confidence. I think he's going to feel good after that playoff game last year. I think he's going to feel good starting this season and being more of a leader. I think we take it. I think it's going to make us look good, and we're going to be put on the radar. Might be calling in 4 weeks and changing my mind on that. But go Panthers, ready for the season, excited for football, excited to be talking to people. Thanks.
All right. I appreciate that one. Two good points. I think it's very astute on, like, who doesn't play for the Panthers defense is something to watch for. I remember as a player in college, we'd have like a bye week scrimmage or something. And bye week scrimmages are usually for the players that don't play or are seen as the starters. And like when you roll out there as a offensive starter in a hoodie and you see like a player on defense that you didn't realize the team looked at like that in a hoodie, you're like, oh, that freshman is already like established starter. You learn kind of where your hierarchy is. So who on defense doesn't play is kind of interesting there. I agree. So we'll pay attention. And then calling a win against the Bears, listen, there's still a lot of time before we got to make those picks.
We got 6 weeks.
The Bears are a tough team to face if you are trying to be a like improved working in new guys defense, because Ben Johnson is a play caller of play callers. He does not mess around. So if there's a little something or like just a little hole in your protection that you haven't quite filled in yet, he's going to find it, and he's just going to keep tearing at it. So I'm not making a prediction yet. We will week of, but that's Chicago's going to have their advantages that come with having one of the best play callers in the game on your sideline. It is Monday Sound Off, 919-860-5326. Heister Automotive Group hotline open for you. David in Raleigh wants to sound off on UNC basketball, and we're going to have him do just that. David, thanks for calling in. Go ahead and sound off.
Mr. Tim, Mr. Dennis, how y'all doing today?
We're doing fantastic. Great radio voice. Go ahead and give us your take.
Yes, sir. I called in about a month and a half ago on UNC basketball. I'm just reiterating my excitement and my enthusiasm for the team. I'm liking what Michael Malone's doing. Mm-hmm. He's set up a lot of unofficial and official visits for a lot of 5-stars and top talents for the next couple of years, which we haven't seen this quite heavy volume for recruitment in a few years. I'm also excited with the development of the players. I've been hearing a lot about how well they've been practicing and everything like that. And I'm really excited to hear how Terrence Brown is going to perform this season. I think Neo might be playing a lot more of the one. So we'll have a dynamic scorer at the guard, which we haven't seen probably since like Kobe White, Cole Anthony years. So I'm excited for that, and I'm just waiting to hear what's going on with Sadon Keita. I think it's like a Luka Bogovic situation, so we'll just let that play out and go Tar Heels. I'm excited for the season.
All right. I love all the excitement. I have heard or read, right, and so much of recruiting coverage feels very like message board-y. I have seen, I'm sure the same reports many of you have, that like Michael Malone is afraid of no one in the recruiting world. There are some coaches, some teams, some well-funded programs that in the recruiting world, when they walk into a gym, everyone else is kind of like, oh, darn. I've heard Michael Malone almost seeks them out. Like, who's watching that player? Oh, okay, yeah, I'm watching him too. Same day, I'm sitting right next to him. Michael Malone is not afraid of putting his team and his university, which you shouldn't be, you're Carolina, but putting his coaching staff and his university up against anyone's in the recruiting market. I will say that's very easy to do your first real recruiting kind of foray. It's more difficult to do consistently because if it doesn't work out, it's like, oh gosh, we got to make sure we get some guys in here. Like, we got to go be a little bit more realistic. But no, if you're Michael Malone, you swing for the fences. You have North Carolina's brand behind you, and you have an NBA championship. Go talk to the 5-star.
If I was coaching UNC basketball, and like you mentioned, you got the UNC logo, I wouldn't be afraid to go recruit anybody either.
100%.
You know why? Because you're Carolina.
100%.
Carolina should never, ever be afraid to recruit anybody.
And both. You're Carolina and you're Michael Malone.
Yeah.
Like if Michael Malone went to, I don't know, pick Boston College, he still shouldn't be afraid to recruit anybody. Maybe he wouldn't have the funds to bring some of them in, but like his name should get you a meeting. Now you give him Carolina. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm not saying he's going to win every recruiting battle, but should be in the mix for anyone he wants to be in the mix for. Carolina should not be one of the schools that send out 100 scholarship offers, right? Because it should be like, oh, what if all of them accept? Because they might. Like the top schools are not peppering the entire country with scholarship offers. They pick their 10 to 12 for 4 spots. You know what I mean? And they land 4 or 5 of them. That's what Carolina should be doing.
Now, when I was coaching Division III athletics, and I would sit there at a field, and I'm like, oh, okay, there's coaches from all these, major programs. Like, I'm at the wrong field.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, hey, that girl's really good. Oh, no wonder Ohio State sat down next to me, or something along those lines.
Are you here for number 6? Yeah, I'm here for number 4.
Yeah, you're right. The one standing over there, that's the one I'm coming. But that's a real thing, though. But yeah, if I'm Michael Malone and I'm Carolina, no, I ain't backing down from anybody. If anything, when I sit next to someone else, they should get up.
Yes, there should be
like
some.
You should get up.
There should be some that come up to you and go like, laugh, handshake, walk to the other side of the gym to watch the other game when you walk in.
I'm gonna go grab a pretzel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which, I'm not doing this to make fun of other schools. I'm here, like I'm just saying, it's North Carolina. Like, it's North Carolina, and you're Michael Malone. Now there are, don't get me wrong, some schools out there that will not budge when Carolina walks in. Some ones that are across the triangle. Like there are schools that you're going to have to fight firepower against, but it should be at least a fair fight against darn near everybody.
UNC's on the short list.
Yes.
Of someone that shouldn't be afraid. Duke is in that exact same situation. UConn, exact same situation.
And I did see that they've already perhaps reached out to some of these fifth-year eligible players. If they can make it work, they can make it work, right? Then it comes down to funding and roster space. But if they feel like they need another big, if they feel like they need a something or another, there are avenues to that, and they should be able to get those calls just as much as everybody else.
Do you think, again, because the number of scholarships you're allowed to have, I know like the number and all that stuff has changed a little bit, and obviously there's some coaches that are leaving like a roster spot out there, but do you think that college basketball coaches, knowing this potential 5-for-5 thing, maybe left like hey, we have a free roster spot, scholarship spot available just because, hey, there might be someone late in the portal that pops up, or possibly this whole situation might unfold where, hey, we can go snag somebody here at the last second.
I think there are teams that are going to be saved by it, meaning they struck out, or a player got hurt, or a player they were banking on coming back stayed in the draft, something like that, and they're going to be able to fit it in. I also think there might be, and this is super sad for me to say because I'm a former walk-on, some walk-ons that were like promised a scholarship because they had an open, hey, we got an open scholarship. We only had this many people. We aimed for more, but we didn't fill it. Yeah, you're on scholarship, and they're going to come back for the semester, and it's going to be like, actually, no, because sorry, you're back to being a practice player, which is just a bummer. Because there's some good players that are going to be available, like all conference, all American style players that are going to be available. And if you're a coach and you need to win games, you got to win games. You know what I mean? Like, you got to find a way. And even if that means being a jerk, honestly, and I've said this a bunch of times before on air, it's why I did not even entertain going into coaching in college.
Mm-hmm.
My career was over. I knew I wasn't leaving sports. I literally I didn't want to be a high school coach because I didn't want to teach. And I didn't want to be a college coach because college coaches have to win. And that means sometimes you got to be a real jerk to the people that work hard, right? You got to be able to say, hey, you've done everything right. Still not as good as this guy who just runs a faster 40 time naturally. And I'm paid to win. I'm not just paid to, create better people. So we got to do this. I think there's going to be a lot of tough conversations where it's like, you were going to be a big part of the team, but this All-American just became available because of a court case. So we might not have a spot for you. And that's just real cruddy to think about. But I get why you do it if you're the coach at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Matter of fact, that's what we're going to talk about next. The fifth year and the chaos it could bring to college sports. Thank you to everybody that called in for a Monday Sound Off. We'll do it again next week. Same time, same place. And get this, everybody. We'll kind of have a Panthers game to talk about.
Yeah,
when
we will.
When we go Monday Sound Off. It'll be the previous Thursday. But we'll talk about it, I'm sure. I can't say that for sure. You will decide because we let you drive the Monday Sound Off. But it'll be within your possibilities. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll talk NCAA fifth years. But first, Dennis Cox has a message for you.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here real quick from my good friends over at Law Tigers. One of the things that I appreciate about being a motorcycle rider, and just really it's part of any fandom or any activity that you do. You're part of a community. Whether you are a fan of a certain sports team or you participate in a certain activity, you're automatically part of that community. And I know as a motorcycle rider that if I'm ever injured in a motorcycle accident, I have people that are in the motorcycle riding community that are there to support me, and that's exactly what Law Tigers is there to do. If you're injured in a motorcycle accident, give Law Tigers a call at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS even before you get in touch with the insurance company. Law Tigers was created 25 years ago by people in the motorcycle riding community for motorcycle riders in times of need. Your case evaluation, it's always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. Law Tigers attorneys, they're, again, part of the riding community. They know what your bike is worth. They know what your gear is worth. And also they understand the dangers of the road. Give them a call, 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, or visit lawtigers.com. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Fifth-year players. They're coming to college sports, and they're creating havoc. How much havoc? Is it good havoc? Stick around.
Move your sports day forward.
Soccer put its best foot forward this summer and tried everything it could to not put its foot in its mouth. Stellar play from the world's top stars in Messi and Mbappe, and a cult social media hero in the chiseled Viking Erling Haaland. It's a shame this will all be forgotten for another 4 years. Maybe we could get Shakira and the Muppets to do a yearly halftime show.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm glad you agreed to this date, Mr. First Tuesday.
Oh, me too, but I have to admit something. I've never been on a first date.
But you are a date, and first is in your name.
Yeah, I guess I've just been married to my work, Spreading the news about new scratch-offs coming out every first Tuesday.
New scratch-offs release every first Tuesday?
Wait, you don't know about new scratch-off tickets that come out the Okay. Well, okay. You got me.
Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline, 877-718-5543.
Adam Gold in studio with my friend Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. A lot of people have work to do on their homes. They need a roof. They want windows, siding. You guys do everything. But people are also, I'm not sure I can afford it. The Aluminum Company is a great place to go. Tell us why.
Well, tons of times I'll go out to people's houses and they're thinking about doing a bunch of home improvements at once. Siding, roofing, windows are a big package, right? And the first thing they think of is, well, I'm going to need to go get an equity line or a second mortgage. One of the things we have is tons of financing options where you don't even need to go to your bank. We can do that in-house for you and run payment options for you. And lots of times the financing that we offer is a better percentage rating than you can get from your bank, and you don't have to go through all that mess to get to it.
I like that. Also, is there 12 months Zero interest?
12 months, zero interest, zero payments for 12 months.
Zero payments and zero interest at the same time for 12 months.
That is correct.
That is a double header right there. Aluminum Company of North Carolina, online, aluminumcompany.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. All right, there's a few things going on in college sports right now that are all similarly related. The one that I think is going to cause the most chaos is the expansion of eligibility. So the NCAA very obviously got tired of having to field waivers and decide whether something is a medical red shirt or not, and deciding on this, that, and the other. So they've taken what has been for as long as I can remember, which is you get 5 years to play 4 as long as the 5th year is a red shirt year, which for most of my life meant you didn't play. You practiced, you were on the team, but you didn't play in games. That counted as a red shirt year. A while ago, it became you didn't play or you played a little, then had a serious injury. That was a medical red shirt. Then they expanded it to you didn't play, you played a little and had a serious injury, or in football, you played less than 4 games, or 4 plus a bowl game, which for some reason didn't count. And now they have just established we don't want to deal with the red shirt anymore from the first year after your high school class graduates, or starting when you turn 19 if you're not in the American high school system. You get 5 years to play 5. 5 years, and you can play all 5 years, right? So every record that was set by a 4-year player is going to be smashed by somebody that just plays 5 years. Like it's a whole thing, okay? 5 years to play 5, and they said this offseason is when it changes, which really upset a very particular group. That particular group is the high school class of 2022. Because if they did not redshirt, they just played 4 years and 4, and they feel like they deserve the option to play 5 years and 5, just like everybody's going to have this point moving forward. And the NCAA tried to fight back against that. Judges, like court systems, have made the decision that no, they're going to be allowed to play another. A rule change this offseason must pertain to the people that just ended their careers this season. So there's this large group of 2022 athletes across all sports that now suddenly have a year of eligibility. Now, can they transfer or not is a question. Some have already put their name in the portal before they even had eligibility. They're eligible to transfer. Some didn't, and it's unlikely that they'll get to transfer, but I assume that's just one lawsuit away from them being allowed to transfer. This is football, this is basketball, this is baseball, this is everything. Here's my concern. How in the bleep, pick whatever bleeping words you want to use there. How in the bleep did the NCAA not see this coming? Because it's really hard to knock the players when there's so much money and so much fun in another year of eligibility, especially those that obviously weren't going to go pro. They get to kind of fight for this a little bit, have a little bit of a lawsuit, and they get to play another year. I don't know how you blame them. I'd like to think that all of us at some point in time would just see the bigger picture and say, no, it's time for somebody else to have the spotlight. I will willingly move on, but flash a couple $100K in front of any of us, and we probably go, you know what? I could play one more semester. So it's hard to blame the players. As I talked about earlier, coaches are paid to win, right? College is becoming more and more and more. You better not be one of the last teams in your conference, or else your job is gone, and you're going to carry that scarlet letter with you for the rest of your life, at least the rest of your career if you're the coach. So they have to do everything they can to win, even if that means bringing in one of these players. Schools, they shouldn't put their foot down, right? They want to win. They need to win in order to make good on all this money they're putting into sports. They need to get the advertisement. They need to get the increase in applications. They need everything. My big issue is how is the NCAA not operating with more common sense? Because it takes like 3 guys, 3 ladies sitting in a bar having paid attention casually to college sports over the last 10 years to go, oh, they think they're not going to let them play again? Oh, no, they're going to play again. Courts will make them play again. Like, there was no doubt in my mind eventually this injunction was coming. The NCAA is missing the forest for the trees on everything. And just like in any walk of life, if you see someone make bad decision after bad decision after bad decision, guess what? You're going to stop trusting them to make a good decision. There needs to be, it has to be a requirement if college sports are going to remain healthy and popular, and if they are not going to shoot themselves in the foot over and over and over again, there needs to be some people that can see not like the wildly unpredictable future, the super predictable future. Like if the NCAA struggled with COVID, okay, right? All of a sudden social distancing and who knows who to believe and all this stuff, like that was tough. You can't prepare for that. That was very difficult to predict. But if you struggle with the most obvious lawsuits and now have so many of your teams in absolute pretzels, that's an issue because it was preventable. Do you know how it's preventable? When you set out to make this 5 for 5, the new lay of the land, just say, and it applies retroactively to this year's class. And let teams prepare that way. Because if you are a team and you need a point guard and you don't have a point guard, you are going out and getting a point guard. Now, if suddenly Seth Trimble is available, what's going to happen to that point guard that you brought in who you had to settle for because he didn't do a good job with it? That point guard's now messed over, and you're pleased because you got Seth Trimble. It's the players that are going to lose again. A couple quotes here. We'll start with the I read it earlier, but it is Jake Dickert from Wake Forest. Wake Forest team was on the field this morning after the practice. Jake Dickert was asked about the 5th years that are going to be seeking eligibility and if he's going to be entertaining that. He said, we're going to be sticking with our football team. I believe in these guys. We're ready. That's who we're rolling with. That's one way to handle it. Now, I think for football, it's easier to handle it that way because you're already practicing. You're out there, like, throwing somebody into the mix might actually upend some of your chemistry. But if you're basketball and all of the teams that you compete against are willing to go out there and grab another player or two of high quality, I don't know if you can be as, like, I love my guys as Jake Dickert is for the football team. Because then you're just at a competitive disadvantage. The Field of 68 had this quote. It was from an anonymous D1 assistant basketball coach. So, didn't put their name on it, do with that what you will. But one anonymous D1 assistant coach told the Field of 68, now I will spend the week trying to raise money so that we can screw over kids that have worked their bleep off for us all summer. We have to go raise a bunch of money to pay these better 24-year-olds to come in and take the minutes from the kids that have been practicing with us and working as hard as they possibly can because they saw an opportunity in our rotation. Again, I don't blame the team. I don't blame the player coming back. I certainly don't blame the player that was working their tail off trying to earn that opportunity. I blame the NCAA because this should not be an issue. It should have been predicted. It should have been dealt with. If you're watching the news, if you're watching WRAL, and they are saying every single 5 minutes, massive storm coming, it's going to rain, massive storm coming, and you get caught outside without an umbrella, I'm blaming you. Everybody knows. The NCAA, if you try to limit eligibility, especially in a way that doesn't apply equally to everybody, the courts are not going to enjoy that. And this is coming from me. I think maybe the number one, maybe It's definitely top 3 or 4 for me. Thing about college sports that makes it awesome is eligibility. The fact that it's finite. The fact that there's roster turnover. The fact that senior day is a thing. Pro athletes don't get senior day. Right? Their last home game, they think they're playing next year, and then the phone just doesn't ring in the offseason, and that's how their career ends. Senior day, it's over. It's part of the ticking clock in the corner of your eligibility. Is part of the special of college sports. And even I'm looking back saying, you really thought you were going to be able to say this year 5, last year 4, and have that hold up? Absolutely not. So now what's next? You're going to try to put a salary cap? Is that what's going to happen? You're going to try to put a salary cap on there? No, that won't be enforceable either unless you let the players unionize and negotiate as a collective bargaining agreement. If you just try to limit their earnings, the courts won't allow that either. It's predictable. It's obvious. NCAA keeps shooting themselves in the foot and then looking around saying, who pulled the trigger? It's like, you did. You did. And overwhelmingly, the people that pay for your mistakes are the players, not the star players, the ones that are working their tail off just to make the team. Those are the ones you continuously mess over. With that being said, huge opportunity for teams to get better. Like the power, the talent levels in basketball will shift from now to when the season starts because there are All-Americans that are just out there waiting to find a place to play. And there are coaches who are desperate enough, needy enough, or just competitive enough and willing to do whatever it takes that are out there that will definitely bring them in and pay them handsomely to play for their team.
I hate to use the term collusion, but there is one way to prevent this from happening.
What is that?
Right now. It's just all the college coaches to sit there and tell each other, hey, let's all agree to no one takes them. Hey, if we don't like this, then let's just not do it. Plain and simple.
The issue is, if you have a good team this year, I agree. If you have a bad team and you think one more losing season costs you your job, maybe not, guys. I think you all should not bring in any of the good players. I, on the other hand, I need a small forward and a shooting guard. Something serious. Like it's unless you get 100% buy-in on that, somebody will be Forrest Gump's shrimp boat, right? Everybody else couldn't get any shrimp. He's the last one standing. He'll bring in half of last year's All-American team and look pretty darn good doing it.
I mean, in all seriousness, no, how many of these guys are actually eligible that haven't maybe signed a pro deal somewhere? Like for real, Venal Lubin from NC State.
Darian Williams is already practicing in Texas Tech gym.
Of course he is.
Braden Smith, I think his name is, the Purdue assists leader darn near of all time. I think some of them kind of knew that the NBA this season was a long shot and were dragging their feet on either this happening or they could always go overseas. NIL money is not small money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like, I need to cash this G League check when they might have $500,000 waiting for him to come back or more. There's some players. Some North Dakota big man, apparently a 7-footer, is getting big-time ACC attention and is going to be playing somewhere. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for Kalshi. And it's that time of year, right? The season hasn't even kicked off, but everyone is making predictions. Who wins the division? Who makes the playoffs? Who's lifting the trophy at season's end? On Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, you can trade those predictions in a live market. How about that? For example, when you're looking at, of course, football, and you're looking at, of course, the first game that's coming up here on Thursday. The Panthers are trading at 52% to win. That means a $100 trade would pay out just under $180 if Carolina can win. And there's obviously all of the futures, the division, and everything else if you don't want to be the one trading on the first preseason game well before the rest of the preseason even starts. But remember, on Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house, and as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. Trade the draft pick, the game, and more on Kalshi. Download the Kalshi app and use code TIMD. That's code TIMD to get up to $500 in bonus credits when you trade $25. KALSHI, Kalshi. Trade on anything. 18 plus only. Restriction and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Kalshi products are not available in all jurisdictions. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory. Gambling problem, call 877-718-5543. All right. Got to catch my breath after that one. We have the starting five coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Adam.
I'm Adam Gold, and I'm there.
Tim.
I'm Tim Donnelly, and I'm there.
Dennis.
I'm Dennis Cox, and I'm there.
Victoria.
I'm Victoria Bodenecker, and I'm there.
Paul.
I'm Paul Ihander, and I'm there too.
You'll find them all here on the brand new 99.9 The Fan app. To work, to school, the beach, the mountains, the arena, take The Fan with you wherever you go. Available for Apple iPhone and Android phones. Download the 99.9 The Fan app today.
You hear that? That's the sound of Pepsi Zero Sugar. The better tasting, more refreshing Zero Sugar Cola. Listen to that endless pour. If it sounds this good, just imagine how it tastes. So good. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Let your taste decide.
Stop by Refuel and get 25 cents off per gallon when you buy 2 20-ounce Pepsi Zero Sugars with Refuel Rewards.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my running PR, so I'm celebrating with the Banana Bonanza smoothie.
Hey, and you can keep celebrating when you create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Go bananas.
I will. Hey, make it a large.
Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
You're listening to the Financial Safari News Network.
From Coach Pete's Money Desk, America's wealth coach and author of the big book on retirement, Coach Pete D'Arruda. Coach, what's a good strategy with debt as we near retirement?
I saw something come across the wires the other day. Macy's just introduced to the world a news release that they're going to start charging 35% interest on their credit card that they have.
Whoa.
Now, I've seen 29.9 with some folks that have come in from the radio and say, Coach, well, we got this debt. What should we do with it? I said, number one, stop saving and pay this debt off. Like if you're trying to save at a bank or even in the stock market, could you really get a 30% return? Here's a guaranteed 30% return. If you have a debt or any kind of debt, whatever the interest rate on that debt is, if you pay that off, that's the return you're getting because you're not having to pay that debt anymore. So if you're paying off a 30% credit card with money, you in effect earn 30% because you're not paying 30% anymore.
Good strategies. 888-456-7577, 888-456-7577, or text ZONE to 600-700.
Investment advisory services offered by Capital Financial Advisory Group, a North Carolina registered investment advisor.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Eagle Leasing Storage Studio. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Canes light the lamp here.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Kat Campbell. We'll have the chance for a thunderstorm before sunset tonight. 73 the low under mostly cloudy skies. Tuesday, it's mostly cloudy and humid with a high of 83. A 70% chance of rain and storms. Wednesday, the unsettled weather will continue.
5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones today at the closing bell up 693 points to 53,178.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. The starting five is brought to you by Baker Home Exteriors. For roofing, siding, windows, and doors, trust the team that's been doing good work for over 100 years. Baker Home Exteriors, roofing the Carolinas since 1915. BakerHomeExteriors.com. As always, we start the starting five with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Dennis, you want to give us the concert rundown? What do they call it? Chapel Thrill?
Chapel Thrill.
These are the pre-game concert headliners for Carolina home football games. Dennis, take it away.
So we have everyone from 38 Special, that's right, the classic rock band, all the way to Shaquille O'Neal himself, that's right, DJ Diesel. DJ Diesel, Shaquille O'Neal, yes, that Shaquille O'Neal, folks, the one that's on Inside the NBA, the four-time NBA champion, all that. DJ Diesel will actually perform at Chapel Thrill concert September 12th. That's against East Tennessee State. He'll perform. Again, these concerts take place about 2 hours before kickoff. So we have DJ Diesel, Shaquille O'Neal, followed by October 3rd against Notre Dame, Chase Rice.
Okay.
I feel like Notre Dame that's perfect. Against Syracuse, the country music band from Parmalee, North Carolina. Parmalee is going to perform. That against Syracuse. And then October 31st against Miami, the band Neon Trees. It's an alternative band that's performing on October 31st. I can't say I know anything about them other than their name is Neon Trees. That's the only thing I know. And then you hit November. Here's what we're closing out here with, Tim.
All right.
November 14th against Louisville. Again, for Chapel Thrill. Waka Flocka Flame on November 14th against Louisville. And then we're rounding out the end of the season on November 28th against NC State when 38 Special performs. And as someone in our YouTube live comments, Chase said that 38 Special is just the amount the Pack will win by.
Ooh.
Already throwing it out there.
Speaking of the YouTube chat, somebody did vouch for Shaq's DJ ability.
Yeah, so this actually comes from Melissa in our YouTube live chat. She said, Shaq has DJ'd several times at Texas Tech, where my daughter teaches. She said he's actually very good.
I want to know if the DJ tables, are they extended height, or is he was 7 feet tall?
Yeah, they got to be elevated.
So
on cinder blocks.
So the people that are hanging out with him in the DJ booth are you just see their heads above the just see their heads above the turntable as he's doing his thing. I of that group, I think, as you mentioned, Chase Rice just makes sense. He played football at Carolina. It just
makes perfect sense.
There.
And a big game against Notre Dame, too. It's a pretty good headliner.
Parmalee being from North Carolina kind of makes sense. Personally, of the people I'd be most excited to see, I think Shaq would be near the top of the list.
I know. It's wait a second.
I just want to, what are you working with, Shaq? I want to be able to say, I apologize. I was unfamiliar with your skills.
I just want to know who you contacted to be like, hey, we need Shaquille O'Neal to come up here and make an appearance so he can DJ before our football game.
Cool. I assume there's a booker who's you're never going to guess. But Shaq is in for X amount of dollars. How much do you think Shaq as a DJ costs? And does he stay to watch the game?
That's the key question.
After he's done spinning on the ones and twos, does he then go inside and watch the game? Or does he then take off?
By the way, that game against East Tennessee State is a noon kickoff, so he'll be 10 a.m. out there just letting it loose.
All right, we'll see.
Can you dig it?
I'm sure there is some of that.
Has to be.
Kobe, tell me how my bleep tastes. It's a legendary YouTube video from back in the day if you don't remember. That is number 5. Let's get to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
United States men's national team news. Mauricio Pochettino has signed a new contract to continue as manager of the United States men's national team. U.S. Soccer announced earlier this morning. That's good. That seems good. I don't pretend to know who are the best soccer coaches in the world, but he appeared to have done a good job. The soccer people I talked to during the World Cup, the United States was playing a more high-level brand of soccer than they played in the past. A more hey, we actually have some talent, we can do some things, rather than basically kind of gimmicky to try to steal a win. But here's the more important part. This comes from an ESPN article. According to U.S. Soccer, Pochettino's reappointment, along with a broader investment in the United States men's national team, is being supported by a philanthropic leadership gift from Kenneth C. Griffin, the founder and CEO of Citadel and founder of Griffin Catalyst, Additional support has been provided by Scott Goodwin, Adam Freed, and several commercial partners. I don't know the Goodwin or Freed or commercial partners. Ken Griffin is a billionaire. He's a billionaire who looks at like David Tepper, the owner of the Panthers, and says, "That's nice. Get your cake up." It's very smart of the United States men's national team to use something like a World Cup excitement to get as many billionaires committed to helping them as possible. Olympic sports in the United States do kind of have a college sports feel, where like if you can get them self-financed, that goes a long way. There have been a couple teams that have been like saved by Flava Flav because he just kind of swooped in and raised some money for him, and thus they got what they needed. There's supposedly a billionaire or two that basically fund all of the United States bobsled. Ken Griffin wanting to have a good United States soccer team is very good for the United States soccer program. Keep him engaged for the next 4 years. That is the most important thing towards, maybe outside of like talent acquisition, towards having a World Cup team next year. Dennis, did you just read something surprising? Your eyebrows just went way up.
We're talking money and contracts and stuff. I'm sorry. I had to go look up how much it cost Shaquille O'Neal to perform.
Yep.
So I looked up. This is actually for the College Heights Herald, which is the Western Kentucky University newspaper. So Western Kentucky University paid NBA Hall of Famer. This is back in 2022, by the way. So 6 years ago. They paid NBA Hall of Famer Shaquille O'Neal, also known as the stage name DJ Diesel, $130,000 for his pregame concert on the South Lawn on October 21st. That's 4 years ago. $130,000. That was 4 years ago. That rate might be up. It might be like $150K dropped. That probably doesn't even factor in travel and accommodation and all that. Anyway, I'm sorry.
According to Essentially Sports, so take that with what you will.
Sure.
The NBA legend. While most athletes struggle to find their footing after retirement, the 7-1 NBA legend has seamlessly transformed from dropping basketballs to dropping beats, commanding fees upwards of $200,000 per performance as DJ Diesel. Although he often does donate some of his fee back to a cause in the area. $200K. I don't want to do this because I think it's cool that the school tries to put on an event for fans. Let's be conservative. Say it's costing $100K. Is that a good third wide receiver? Is that the difference between getting the guy you want out of the portal and not getting the guy you want out of the portal? If you could come up with $100K more,
I think those are coming from different funds.
I would direct as many funds as I can to the field, if at all possible. But again, I might be oversimplifying it, so don't take it from me. That's number 4. Let's get to number 3. The Major League Baseball trade deadline is 49 minutes away. There's already been some moving and some shaking. Tarek Skubal over the weekend was traded from the Tigers to the Dodgers. Now here's the what I've been told, and by what I've been told, I mean I read an article on ESPN.com about it. Overwhelmingly, it was an underwhelming return for Skubal to the Tigers. It was 3 prospects, none considered like top prospects. Here's the reason. Skubal apparently has, Boris as his agent, who's notoriously money hungry as an agent, and his players usually
Scott Boras?
Yeah. Normally goes for they search out the most money. So because of that, there's like 0% chance that Skubal would sign an extension with the Tigers or with wherever he was traded, because he knows he can hit the open market this offseason and just go to the absolute highest bidder. So even the Dodgers are kind of renting Skubal. So they gave up the prospects they needed to win the bidding to get Skubal for the rest of this year. And then if they want to keep him, they're going to have to outbid everybody because Boris is notorious for making his guys go to market. Either way, it looks bad when the Dodgers just keep stacking talent Meanwhile, there are teams out there that their fans are pretty convinced aren't even trying to win. It's crazy to me, and it's like a baseball-wide problem, where if a team is like 2 games out of the playoffs, out of the wild card, and they are buyers at the deadline, how many people call them dumb? Like, oh, why are they all in? I'm like, because they might go to the playoffs. And who knows what happens once you get there. You could magic in a bottle. But it's just becoming like either you're one of the 4 betting favorites to win the whole thing, or like it's too expensive to go chase big things. And that's just crazy to me. The Red Sox, by the way, traded for Adley Rutschman, multiple-time All-Star catcher from the Orioles. I've since, because earlier today I was like, how much did the Orioles get bullied into sending him in division? I have since read a little bit about the return, and now people are saying, like, how in the world? Oh, that's how. The Red Sox way overpaid. You'll go. I'll send him in division if you want to give me like your 3rd, 5th, 6th, and 7th prospects in your system. Sure. So it's maybe not as bad for the Orioles as I thought. Apparently, some very good players from the Red Sox system coming back. There have been a few other big moves, but there's still 45 more minutes to make more. At least it's an active deadline. It stinks when you're a fan of a sport and the deadline is blah. So at least there's some stuff to get excited about. Really, if you're a Dodgers fan. That is number 3. Let's get to number 2.
Just the 2 of us.
The NCAA has 5th-year players from last year. Sorry, 4th-year players from last year. The class of 2022 high school class. If they played 4 seasons in 4 seasons of any sport, there's now an injunction they are eligible to play a 5th year. Due to changing rules that the NCAA has, they're now retroactively going to that group. The issue with that being, school's pretty much starting up pretty soon. You know what I mean? Football is in camp. Class is going to be in session for most schools in the next couple of weeks. And that means you probably had your roster set already. So what do? I'm just going to use round numbers. I'm not even going to give you a sport. What if you are the coach of a team and you have 10 roster spots? And with class starting up soon, you filled those 10 roster spots. Maybe you have 7 players that you loved, you chased, and 3 players that you settled for because you had to fill out your 10-player roster. Now suddenly, completely out of the blue, there are a bunch of players that are very good that are eligible to add to that roster. Now, you don't have any openings. You filled your 10 roster spots. But you have an all-conference player from last year. You have a player that's played 100 games at a high level in a big conference, and you have somebody else who's connected to your assistant coach that you just hired. They're all knocking on your door saying, I want to play for you. I'm eligible now. I have eligibility. The court said I do. You're probably going to those 3 that you settled for and saying, see ya. I know I told you we had a spot. I know I told you this. I know I told you that, but get out of here. That's not very fun, is it? Not very cool, not very upright, not very honorable. While I do think some coaches in college, and this is mostly basketball and winter sports and beyond, the fall sports, I think it might even be too late. But I think some will have the honor of saying, no, I gave these guys my word. I'm keeping it. I think there will be equally as many, if not more, that are willing to say, get on campus, we'll find a way to get rid of somebody. Suddenly somebody's going to like cramp up and practice, and they're going to be going like, career-ending injury, bummer. You can stay on scholarship, but you're off the team. We got a roster spot. Come on, guys. It's going to get ugly. And on top of that, I hate any situation. Let's get real big picture here. I hate any situation where having like integrity is a disadvantage. And I think this is going to be one of those. If you have integrity, if you are a man or a woman of your word, and you have looked at somebody and said, you're a part of this team, I want you here, we're happy to have you. If you honor that, I think that could be a competitive disadvantage. because the ones that don't have the honor or the ethics to honor that word are going to have better players come in and take those spots and push the others out. That's not very cool. Well, I'll even tell another way that this has happened. Dennis, I'm sure you're aware of it. You know the term gray shirt?
Yes.
So red shirt's going away. Obviously, gray shirt's going away. Gray shirt, for those of you that don't know, would be if a player wanted to play for you and you wanted to play them to, like, if, as a coach, player commits to me, I want them on the team, but I don't have the roster spot. What you used to do was just say, for football, enroll in the spring, right? Because your clock doesn't start until you enroll in college. So work out, get a job, help your high school team. In the spring semester, enroll, so this year won't count as one of your years of your career, and it won't count us as scholarship, won't count us a roster spot, and then we'll put you on scholarship. You'll be a guy for the next year. I had a bunch of teammates that did that. They were nervous because you can't put a gray shirt in writing, right? You're basically just trusting the coach that your spot will be waiting for you in the spring. And they were super nervous. Luckily for all of them, the spot was waiting and someone went on to have great careers. But that kind of trust wasn't always shared. There's a lot of horror stories of gray shirts who then showed up in the spring like, Coach, I'm ready to enroll. And they were like, well, actually, we had a couple more commitments in this next recruiting class than we thought, and we don't have that spot for you. And they'd been waiting at a semester, right? Put their whole life on hold. If you're a coach that's not as honorable in situations like that, I think you could put together a really good team this year. And I just hate where honor or integrity or ethics, whatever you want to call it, is a disadvantage. And I think it might be. Outside of like Duke basketball, right? Because, oh, we're going to replace a 5-star with a 5-star. Like if they're honorable and don't take anybody new, they're kind of a loaded class anyway. That's number 2. Let's get to number 1.
I feel great about playing football right now.
Ooh, I just smacked the microphone. I'm so excited. The Panthers are playing preseason football this year. They're playing it this week even. They're playing it on Thursday.
Say this year? Okay. Wow. All right.
They're playing it this week. They're put 3 days from now, if you consider Monday already over. Thursday in Canton, Ohio, Hall of Fame game, Panthers, Cardinals. I want to be fair to the Panthers on this one. So they're not playing their starters. Matter of fact, we can go ahead and play the audio from Dave Canales explaining who will and who won't play in this Thursday's Hall of Fame preseason opener.
Kenny will start the game off. For how long, I'm not sure, but we have a good number of guys, that'll be helping out early on in the game. Just because we don't want to overload any one particular group on our team. We do have practices leading into the game, and we have practices coming out of it. So I felt that with the number of guys being out there, being able to take a couple of series will really help the whole group, and we just need the football. So I'm excited about it, and Kenny's excited as well as the rest of the group, and they've been talking a lot about it.
No starters? No starters?
Yeah, no starters. So there are some competition battles for starting positions where guys will have an opportunity to play a little bit, but some of the guys we're expecting to be out there right off the bat, I think we won't play those guys in this game.
I want to be fair to the Panthers here. I do give the Panthers, this coaching staff, specifically this kind of leadership group, a hard time because they really don't play their team in the preseason, right? Bryce Young essentially gets one series in preseason. At least that's kind of historically what they've been doing. And I think they need more, right? I don't think they're a team like they're not like McVay not playing Stafford, right? Stafford knows everything that he's doing. I think Bryce needs to get reps, and it's worth risking an injury in preseason to get him some more reps. But in the interest of being fair, I would not play my starters in the Hall of Fame game. The Hall of Fame game is a game before the preseason starts, really. The Panthers have an extra preseason game compared to everybody else in the league that's not the Cardinals who they are playing. So I would use this as a get Kenny Pickett, that's the Kenny they were referencing, a bunch of reps game. I would use this as a let's see what we actually have in Haynes King game. I would use it as a depth special teams, end of the roster evaluation game. I would not use this as a let's get my starters extra reps game. They haven't been in camp that long. They haven't been in pads that long, and I want to have more control over the first few weeks than I would in a preseason environment. B, I don't know what the Cardinals are doing, right? Because you always have to consider who you're playing with as far as the other team. And if the Cardinals are playing their third and fourth string, I say this all the time, third and fourth stringers need to make plays to make the roster, right? They can't just be solid. They need to do something memorable. So if you're a defensive end and you are fighting for your life just to make the practice squad, you might need to get a sack, right? Not just, man my assignment well. And that might mean, you know what, I'm flying after this quarterback, and if it's going to be bang, bang, right, does he get rid of it? Does he not? If it's going to be bang, bang, is this roughing the passer? Is it not? Like, if I don't get this sack, I'm not making the team anyway, so what's a penalty, right? You don't want your people out there that are playing protective out there with their players that are playing, with reckless abandon to make the team. So, yes, I do think the offense in particular needs to play more in preseason game for the Panthers. I agree with the fact that the obvious tried and true starters will not play on Thursday. I may have them warm up and then take their pads off and wear hoodies. Like, that might be what I do. And I thought it was an interesting point brought up by the caller earlier. It was Gray and Raleigh during Monday Sound Off. I'm interested to see who gets the nod of not playing on defense. Like, the obvious we know, Derek Brown's not going to play, J.C. Horn's not going to play, Jalen Phillips not going to play. We could go on. But what edge rushers play and which ones don't? Outside of Jalen Phillips, right? Prince Umanmielen probably doesn't play. But which ones do and don't beyond that? Which rookies do and don't play? I think we can learn something there. Actions always speak louder than words. If you're a third-round pick and you're out there looking around with all undrafted free agents on your unit, that probably says something. Although that can't happen because Chris Brazel's hurt. So that hypothetical works perfectly because it's literally impossible. Either way. And I'll one more point. I think Kenny Pickett is kind of a perfect backup quarterback because you're trying to evaluate everybody. Sometimes you get a backup quarterback out there that doesn't know what they're doing, and they're a rookie who's rattled, and it's like, oh, he's so rattled that the rest of the offense can't even really be evaluated, right? Like, he's running away from pressure that's not there, so we don't know if the offensive line was holding up. He's throwing it somewhere late, and the wide receiver doesn't make the play, but it was a bad throw. We don't know if that wide receiver was a playmaker. Like, Kenny Pickett is good enough to evaluate everybody around him, so I would play him maybe a full quarter before going to Haynes King, and then let Haynes King do the Haynes King thing from there on in. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That was the starting five brought to you by Baker Home Exteriors. The Baker family has roofed the Carolinas since 1915. Baker Home Exteriors, roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Always good work. BakerHomeExteriors.com. We will grab numbers game contestants, but first, Dennis Cox has a message for you.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here real quick. My friends over at Law Tigers. One of the things that anytime something like, for example, an accident happens, you're driving down the road and you're involved in an accident or there's something that goes wrong at your house. And there's oftentimes a lot of uncertainty about what to do next. Oh my gosh, this thing that just happened, I don't know what to do next. As a motorcycle rider, I know if I'm involved in a motorcycle accident, obviously first thing you do is seek medical attention right away. But I also know that I got to contact Law Tigers first and foremost. 1-800-LAW-TIGERS is the number I got to call, or visit lawtigers.com. And the reason why I say that is because Law Tigers attorneys, they are part of the motorcycle riding community. They know what your bike is worth. They know what your gear is worth. But they are also there to fight for you in your time of need. That's why your case evaluation with Law Tigers is always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. And it's comfort. There's comfort knowing that because, let's be honest, insurance companies, they want to give you the least amount possible. They want to give you the least, whereas Law Tigers, they're there to fight for you. So in times of uncertainty, especially if you're involved in an accident as a motorcycle rider, again, contact Law Tigers, 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. Your case evaluation, like I said, it's always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. So give them a call, 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, or visit lawtigers.com. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
We need numbers game contestants. Right now, the prize for today, Billy Idol tickets when he comes to Coastal Credit Union Music Park on August 23rd. A pair of them will go to one of you, but you have to win the numbers game. So call in now, 919-860-5326. 919-860-5326. We need 2 contestants to play the numbers game. Winner gets a pair of tickets to see Billy Idol. One more time, the phone number, 919-860-5326. Numbers game next.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. For all the inside information on your team, join me and my co-host, WREL TV's Chris Lee, for our podcast, Panthers Playbook, presented by Wake Orthopedics. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on your Panthers, and we'll do it with access only we can provide. Locker room insight, exclusive interviews, and in-depth looks from training camp as the regular season approaches. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcasts or watch on YouTube.
Yeah. Can you pass me a Baja?
A what?
Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Try it. It's tropical at first, then the lime flavor hits.
Oh, okay. That's crisp. Tastes like vacation.
Right?
Mm-hmm. And it's mine now.
Have a Baja Blast.
Right now at Circle K, buy a 20-ounce Mountain Dew and get another for just $1. Do the Dew at Circle K today.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
And Doug.
Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Summer in Raleigh just got hotter. Tim McGraw, the Pawn Shop Guitar Tour. Get lost in the songs you love to sing. With special guests, 49 Winchester. Get ready for a summer show you don't want to miss. Coastal Credit Union Music Park, Friday, August 7th. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Part of the Mattress Warehouse Concert Series.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. Today, the contestants are Nick in Cary and Cameron in Raleigh. And they'll be battling it out in jersey number trivia to see who can win a pair of Billy Idol tickets. But first, we have to find out who goes first. We'll bring them each onto the show, ask them the same question. Dennis will be the judge. He'll pick his favorite answer. That person will get to go first, and we'll go from there. Nick, we'll start with you. Nick, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. The question is, it is a Monday, which means we just wrapped up a weekend. What was the highlight of your weekend? But because we're a sports show, make sure it is sports related.
I got my Carolina Hurricanes signed jersey by Aho hung up in my man cave.
All right. Dennis, any follow-ups?
Which jersey is it? Black one, red one, Whaler jersey? Which jersey is it?
Just the red jersey.
All right. It's fair.
All right. There we go. Nick, you are locked in. We will now go to Cameron and Raleigh. Cameron, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
All right. Same question to you. It is a Monday, which means we just wrapped up the weekend. What was the highlight of your weekend? But because we're a sports show, keep it sports related.
Me and my wife went to the Courage game on Friday, and that was awesome. We won 5-0, biggest win of the year, coming off a losing streak. That was a great time.
All right. Any follow-ups, Dennis? Nope, you're good? Okay.
No questions.
In that case, you have to choose between Nick hanging up in his man cave his Sebastian Aho signed Canes jersey, or Cameron, who he and the wife went to the NC Courage game and got the big dub?
This is actually kind of tough.
Very different categories.
Very much so. But I will say in my opinion, the red jersey, the red uniform for the Carolina Hurricanes is their best one.
Right.
I do like the black one, but the red one to me is the best because it actually has their actual logo on it. But you go witness a 5-0 clean sheet in a soccer match, I'll take the NC Courage in that big 5-0 win.
A come from behind go first for Cameron. I thought
Yes.
you had me in the first half. Cameron and Raleigh will get to go first. Nick, don't worry, you'll have your chance. Just have to sit on hold for a minute or two. Cameron, are you ready to pick your category?
I am.
All right, they are NFL players whose name sounds like they belong in nature, Major League Baseball players who led the league in triples at some point in their career, NBA players that were Ish Smith's teammates at some point or another during their career, or NHL Hurricanes only.
Let's do NHL Hurricanes only.
All right. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. There'll be 30 seconds on the clock, one pass if you need it. And I will say the team in this category, even though we know it, just to keep it fair timing-wise with the other categories. Do you have any questions before we get started?
No.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Jordan Martin of Carolina Hurricanes.
48.
Correct. Eric Robinson, Carolina Hurricanes.
50.
Correct. Michael Bunting, Carolina Hurricanes.
53.
Incorrect. Anthony Stewart, Carolina Hurricanes.
25.
Incorrect. Michael Bunting, Carolina Hurricanes.
58.
Correct. Tomas Kirka, Carolina Hurricanes.
38.
Incorrect. Anthony Stewart, Carolina Hurricanes.
13.
Correct. Tomas Kirka, Carolina Hurricanes.
37.
Correct. Perfect score, I believe. Was that under the buzzer?
That was 29 seconds.
Perfect score, 29 seconds.
29.
That was the most nonchalant buzzer beater ever. But way to go, Cameron. You have a perfect score on the books, although I can tell you, you took almost the whole 30 seconds. So we have seen a perfect score beat a perfect score by doing it faster. So stay on the line and we'll see if it holds up before we celebrate too much, okay?
Okay.
I love how I'm like, don't celebrate too much after I went crazy and he sat there silently. Let's rein it in. All right, Nick and Kara, you're up. Nick, can you hear me?
Yep, you got it.
All right. The categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL players whose names sound like they belong in nature, Major League Baseball players who led the league in triples at some time in their career, or NBA players that at some time or another were teammates with Ish Smith.
Let's do Ish Smith teammates.
All right. These are NBA teammates of Ish Smith, by the way, not Wake Forest. I'll give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. You do need all 5, but you have nearly the entire clock to do so. So fire all the way to the final tape. Any questions before we get started?
Nope, let's do it.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Kevin Durant, Oklahoma City Thunder.
35.
Correct. Elton Brand, Philadelphia 76ers.
0.
Incorrect. Gordon Hayward, Charlotte Hornets.
22.
Incorrect. Elton Brand, Philadelphia 76ers.
Is it 00?
Incorrect. Gordon Hayward, Charlotte Hornets.
40.
Incorrect. Elton Brand, Philadelphia 76ers.
10.
Incorrect. Gordon Hayward, Charlotte Hornets.
Pass. 42. No idea.
I love the confidence in Elton Brand being 0 that you're just like, I don't know, another 0, 00. And by the way, we were looking for 42 for Elton Brand, so not right there. Gordon Hayward 20 with the Hornets, but you did get Kevin Durant to avoid the shutout, and hopefully you had some fun.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, guys.
Appreciate you. And that means the winner is Cameron and Raleigh. Cameron, it wasn't 5-0, but it was 5-1 final score. So close. You almost matched the Courage. Congratulations. You have Billy Idol tickets coming your way.
Awesome. Nice day for a white wedding.
There you go. You're even one-upping me in the pun game. I did that earlier with the Tim McGraw tickets. Either way, stay on the line. Dennis will make sure you get your prize. I like that. That was for some reason, the ones that go like in the numbers game, if you get a perfect score with no mistakes, I almost like, oh, we got a professional here. But if you mess up a few and you got to work into it, I'm like, oh, what an underdog story. It's so much more enjoyable for me. So shout out to Cameron for messing up a few times on his way to a perfect score.
By the way, the last time we had a perfect score was July the 8th. So it's been a minute.
Almost a month. Almost a month. It didn't feel that long. Some of the droughts feel like forever. I feel like we've had some well-played numbers games, right? Some like good 3 out of 5s, 4 out of 5s. Sometimes it feels like we just got a bunch of 0-fers and 1-fers for like a month. That's a little disheartening. But a perfect score right there. Very good for Cameron. And Nick seemed like he had a good time. He really thought Elton Brand was 0, 00, 000, 10.
Is it nothing? Does he have no number on his jersey?
Decimals. 42 is what we were looking for. 42. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for Maynard Service Company. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical work. We're talking about a few different things here, right? One, the I would say preventing the big problems. The maintenance schedules. They'll come out, they'll check everything going on in your house, your heating system, your cooling system, make sure they're working, and make sure you're avoiding the big problems, right? Because oftentimes there are warning signs before the big problems hit. Second thing we're talking about is the big problems, right? Middle of the night, why is there water coming from my ceiling? Middle of the night, why did our air conditioner just break and it's 100 degrees in here? Middle of the night, you're going to call Maynard Service Company. Plumbing issues, we know some of those can be urgent. You're going to call Maynard Service Company. And then there's also what I consider the middle of those two, right? Hey, when I turn on my air conditioner, it makes a sound that I'm not used to it making. It still works, but there's something up there. Or my some of my electrical work is just a little on the fritz, or I bumped into something, or whatever, right? It's the first sign of problems. All three, Maynard Service Company, give them a call. Get them set up on a maintenance schedule. Get them called at the first sign of trouble, and get them called when there's big trouble. The number to call is 919-361-0993. You will not regret it. 919-361-0993, or visit them online at MaynardServices.com. Once again, MaynardServices.com. And when you call, let them know you heard about it from me, Tim, right here on 99.9 The Fan. When we come back, the NHL Network, their analysts, their insiders, they voted and put out the top 20 wingers in the NHL for right now. Who are the top 20 right now? How many Carolina Hurricanes do you think made the top 20? I'll tell you right after this.
The Adam Gold Show.
Don't buy this line that Carolina only won the cup because Florida was too broken to challenge for a third straight title. The Hurricanes were the best team in the league. They were way better than they were the previous year. And I know we can't prove it, but I think Carolina would have beaten Florida if the Panthers were standing in their way. Don't worry what Florida did. Make yourself better.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
It's bow time. Ordering Bojangles Bow Bites is the easiest choice you'll make today. The bite-sized hand-breaded chicken is fried to crispy perfection, making it perfect for sharing, snacking, or when you're on the go. Just don't call it a nugget. The only hard part is choosing from our 6 dipping sauces. We've got a sauce for every kind of craving, from our creamy house-made ranch to our sweet and spicy peach honey pepper sauce. It all depends on what kind of mood you're in. Head to your nearest Bojangles today and discover the dippable, shareable, and craveable Bow Bites. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to head on over to Bojangles to try Bojangles' new Bow Bites. Bite-sized hand-breaded chicken fried to crispy perfection. On the go, they're perfect for snacking or sharing. Dipped in your favorite sauce like creamy house-made ranch or peach honey pepper, they're the perfect way to satisfy your craving for flavor and value. Try Bojangles' new Bow Bites. It's an easy choice to make when it's bow time.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up.
I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55-plus plan saved us so much money.
A lot.
And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, ta-da! If you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it. Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each.
$30 per month each line with autopay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of Essentials. Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Deep in by Nikishin. Sent to Ehlers. Side of the net. Hall. Puts it through. They score! Jackson Blake. Another power play goal. And it's 2-0. Carolina. 3 minutes and 28 seconds into the first period.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. All right, I teased the question before the break, so I'm going to pay it off real quick here. The NHL Network got together their NHL Network producers and analysts to come up with a list of the top 20 wingers, okay? And it is a first in a 9-part series, so I assume we're going to get the list for centers and defensemen and goalies and coaches and on, GMs, who knows? Owners, I don't know. But there's a 9-part series. This is the first. And I said before the break, how many Carolina Hurricanes do you think are in the top 20 wings? Some of you can probably – none. There's 0. There's none of the Carolina Hurricanes. No Seth Jarvis, no Nikolai Ehlers, no Jackson Blake, no Andrei Svechnikov. I could list them all for you. None of them are on the list of top 20. Now, we were talking off air, and I've come up with this. There's 2 ways to take that, right? One is you reverse engineer from what the Canes are, and you say the Canes were the second leading goal-scoring team in the NHL last year, and they won the Stanley Cup. And they have like 2 of the 4 top expected goals lines in the league, and you say from there, somebody from that team has to be one of the top 20 wings in the NHL, at least one. And then what you settle on is this is a bad list. Because how can you have all of those stats and success that I just mentioned and not have a top 20 wing? So if you start with the Canes and you work your way back to the list, you settle on this is a bad list. There's also the reverse that you can do, which would be you start with the list and you look at the list, and I have to be honest, there's some dogs on the list, right? Like, you know,
there's some dudes.
Obviously, like Kucherov's at the top, Pasta's at the top, Kaprizov's at the top, Mitch Marner's at the top, Mikko is at the top. As much as Canes don't like him, you probably have to acknowledge that he's solid. Matt Boldy, Jason Robertson, like there's some dudes all the way down, and you don't really hit a light spot.
Yeah, there's a lot of like 100-point, 40-goal guys.
Yes. Some that have had team success, some that have done it despite being on bad teams. Like there's a good group. That's what I'm saying. So if you start there and you go, you know, I think the best version of Seth Jarvis has an argument, right? And, you know, maybe playoff Jackson Blake has an argument, but he hasn't really turned in the point production over an entire season. You can do that. But if you start with the list and you look at it and you go, you know, I might flip a couple, right? I might have one guy a little bit higher or one guy a little bit lower, right? We can get nitpicky. But overall, it looks like a decent list. If you start there, guess what? It makes what the Canes did even more impressive. Because you go, oh, they were the second leading goal-scoring team in the NHL. They won the Stanley Cup. They had 2 of the 4 best lines by analytics, and they didn't have a top 20 winger in the league. Right? Then it's either way you look at it, it's positive for the Canes because you can't win the Stanley Cup and have a ton of negatives. So like you can spin it whichever direction you want, but I think it's just another example of how deep the Carolina Hurricanes are. And how if you are that deep, if you truly have no holes in your lineup, you don't need Nikita Kucherov. Right? If you truly have a moment where it's on any given day, any one of these dudes can step up, that's going to be the secret sauce of the Carolina Hurricanes. Because I'm going to go ahead and predict some things here. I think we're going to be underwhelmed. It's the first of a 9-part series of them putting together top 20s. I think we're going to be underwhelmed and in some ways angry when most of these lists come out. Because there's a Kane that's not as high as you think. Or maybe there isn't a Kane at all on those lists. I'm going to preemptively be furious that Rod Brind'Amour is not going to be at the top of a list or two. And we'll be mad, but also it does show kind of the Canes culture thing. Right? Because, if Jarvis scored as many points as Jackson Blake did in the postseason, I think he probably would have snuck on, right? Because he has the 30-goal scoring regular season bona fides, and he would have been coming off a ridiculously hot postseason. But the Canes didn't need Seth Jarvis to put together that many points because they had Jackson Blake who was ready to do it. And it could have been a big Svetch Stanley Cup final, but they didn't need it to be a big Svetch Stanley Cup final scoring goals. Why? Because Jordan Stahl was like, I'm going to score in every game. Is that cool? They had somebody to step up at every moment. So I have to admit, the way you all are going to see this list, if you hadn't seen it already, in a different way than I did. I just happened to be on social media, and NHL Media on Twitter was putting them out one at a time. So I experienced it with hope, right? I experienced it with, I think Jarvis could sneak on there, right? Maybe Ehlers is number 20. I experienced it with maybe these guys will pop up, and then you get to 12, and you start doing the math of all the names you haven't seen yet. And you're like, well, he's definitely on there. He's definitely, and there's all right, there's no more slots. They didn't make it. And I was disappointed. And I came in today ready to have this segment be all how in the world can you not have da-da-da-da-da-da-da on the list? This is another example of the national media not understanding what the Canes do that is so good. I was ready to do the whole thing. We got that in our bag of tricks around here, right? We love yelling at the national media for disrespecting the Carolina Hurricanes. I was about to go to speech, 1.4 article Q. I've got them lined up. But then you look at the list. And I did this with a few different people. I was walking around going how many Canes do you think is on the top 20? Once you look at the list, it's tough. You realize, all right, maybe they need to do a top 40. Maybe they need to do a top 40. Canes are going to have 3 on that list. You know what I mean? There's going to be 4 of them in the top 50. You need to start talking about going a little deeper because it's true. I mean, there are guys that I think are worth more than the national media will give them credit for on the Carolina Hurricanes. But if you're looking for the things that quite often you're looking for to put these lists together, point production, gigantic goal numbers, 100 points, up until this year, Stanley Cups. It's just tough for the Canes to get there because of their culture and everything else they do. It's very hard to quantify.
I mean, the 19th guy on this list, Cutter Gauthier, had 41 goals this season. Lucas Raymond, number 20 on this list, had 76 points.
And that pretty much says it right there, right? If you wanted to force one onto the 20th spot from the Canes as a team achievement award, hey, they're such a good offense, they should be represented. If you want to do it like the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, somebody from this team has to get on, I'd be okay with that. I wouldn't. I think it would make sense to do, but looking at this, it's a tough sell. So, I guess what I'm saying is, I'm choosing to look at the list, go from list to Canes, and look at the list and then understand how much more impressive it is that the Canes did what they did. Because they played a lot of these guys, right? They played a lot of these guys, and never on the screen or in person when I was watching them, whether it was home or away or wherever, did I look at it and go, oh, the Canes are outmatched with firepower here, right? Every single time they played one of these teams, and certain teams have multiple guys, I was looking at it going, no, the Canes either have more firepower, better firepower, or equal firepower. And they didn't need a top 20 winger to do it. Dennis, let's look, I assume, one step into the future. Do they have a center on the list? And if so, how high? And why is it or is it not Sebastian Aho?
Yeah, it's going to be Sebastian Aho. I think it's the NHL media. Again, this is people at NHL Network and some people that quote unquote know hockey. I think a lot of people really respect his defensive game. And now that's going to be a major factor, especially when it comes to guys that run down the middle of the ice. That's why you're going to see. Now I'm curious about where they put Alexander Barkov, because he obviously didn't play this past season. But I would not be shocked if Sebastian Aho is somewhere around 14.
I predicted 16, I think.
Yeah, I think somewhere in the around right in that 15 range, give or take a couple, I think is a fair spot for Sebastian Aho.
And I actually think a decent amount of the votes, or however they do it, the arguments for him behind their closed doors, I think they will consider that almost a Canes Team Achievement Award.
I mean, he's a point-per-game player, and he's fantastic defensively, and he can obviously kill penalties and all that stuff. That stuff matters.
I completely agree. Completely agree. But I just think from the national media, they're going to reluctantly be like, we got to have one. We can't have no forward from the Canes. They had the best forward group in the league for the postseason. Like, how we have to have one, and Sebastian Aho is the easy one there. You see this happen sometimes in NBA, like All-Star voting or NBA, All-NBA teams, where it's like they're the second seed. We have to put someone, and you just pick the most famous, and you put them up there as like a team achievement award. I'd expect a few of the Canes to get that treatment, but they didn't get him on the winger list. There's also just more wings in the NHL, so you're competing.
And there's
against
that
more.
too.
You're just competing against more. But it's a good way to get you talking. I almost said like off season. There really is no off season in hockey. We're like 2 months away from like actual games being played.
Less than that.
Well, my off season's getting even smaller in my brain. I thought it was Tuesday and it's Wednesday. You know what I mean? You woke up, you're like, oh, this week's almost gone. The off season is like non-existent when you play all the way to the Stanley Cup final. So. You know, I almost felt like these kind of lists, I'm like, are they already to list season? The season just ended. What are you talking about?
8 weeks from tomorrow is the season opener. 8 weeks from tomorrow.
And there's preseason before that, and there's everything else. 8 weeks from tomorrow, you raise the banner while the Florida Panthers have to watch. Haha. That doesn't make it seem like a longer wait because it's like Christmas, right? There's like 2 weeks till Christmas. Feels like a month. Making both Brady and Matthew Tkachuk watch you raise a banner. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll keep you updated on those lists, especially if there's any that are egregious. But we'll have some fun with them as we move into football seasons. Also, we got football games on Thursday for the Carolina Panthers. Talk about off seasons being over. Please subscribe to our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. Tell your friends about it. Download the app. And we'll see you tomorrow for a Tuesday edition of the show. We will talk to you tomorrow. Until then, enjoy a little Billy Idol on the way out.
Excuse me, you think you could spare a square?
Sorry, what?
A square on your smartphone.
Oh, yeah, for the 99.9 The Fan app.
Exactly. Listen to your favorite hosts, teams, and live sports action.
The Carolina Hurricanes are the best team in the NHL. They won the 2026 Stanley Cup.
And every podcast episode at your fingertips, anytime, anywhere.
Available for Apple iPhone and Android phones. Download the 99.9 The Fan app today.
This is Gordon Miller from Miller Lending, the original home of the no-cost mortgage. As a third-generation family-owned business, I learned early on the importance of relationships and always looking out for the best interest of the consumer. So back in 1987, I witnessed firsthand how closing costs worked and did not like what I saw. Averaging upwards of $15,000, the cost of refinancing was so high, it prevented borrowers from lowering their payment, while the cash to close on a purchase was doubled. That's insane. So 39 years ago, I developed a loan option without any cost at all. Instead of using your money, we use the lender's money.